Part 2. I'm TJ, I'm our technical director. All of the actors you'll be hearing tonight are volunteering their time and their talents from their homes to bring a little bit of entertainment into your homes. We want to thank them very much for joining us. Many of them just first met each other about 15 minutes ago when they logged into this Zoom meeting. We want to thank them all again. We'd also like to thank our friend, Your Friendly Neighborhood Shakespeare, for hosting this on his pages. Check out his website at shakespeareapproves.com and his Patreon at patreon.com/Shakespeare. As always, we want to acknowledge and thank all of the medical professionals and essential workers who've been working tirelessly to keep us all as healthy and safe as possible. We also want to acknowledge those demonstrating and protesting. Quite simply, Black Lives Matter. If you are interested in more information about our totally volunteer organization, check out our website, zenithplayers.com. Feel very free to check out our very attractive donations page. 100% of all of those donations go towards production costs, which these days consist of the various subscriptions that allow for these readings to happen. If you'd like to read with us in future projects, just send us an email, casting@zenithplayers.com. We will get you on board. Join us join us Monday as we continue our serial reading of Frankenstein with episode 2, and this upcoming Saturday for The Birds by Aristophanes. For now, please relax and enjoy Will DeJaney as Prince Hal, the Prince of Wales and heir to the throne, Russell Slater as Falstaff, Andrew Gellos as Robert Shallow, a country justice, Shakira Searle as the Lord Chief Justice, Alison Russell as Hostess Quickly, Mike DeBlee as Lord Bardolph and Davy, Julie Goska as Doll Tearsheet, Mira Singer as Pistol, Matthew Kisher as Bardolph, Noah Stanzione as Edward Poins, Emily Durango as the Earl of Warwick, Sophie Leighton Toomey as Prince John of Lancaster, Morton and Lady Northumberland, Maisha Eleni as Archbishop Scroop and Francis, a drawer, Marissa Schlichtman as Fang, Peter Bolcalf, and Prince Humphrey of Gloucester, Daniel Menendez as Silence, a country justice, Casey Lee Seligian as Snare and the Earl of Westmoreland, Aaron Grotus Gimble as Lord Mowbray, Andrea DeRiso as Lord Hastings, Isabella Pepe as Falstaff's page, Laura Calandrino as a porter, second drawer, Ralph Moldy, a messenger, Harcourt and the second groom, Catherine Gilbert as a servant, Lady Percy, Francis Feeble, Beadle, and the dancer epilogue, Andrea Atwood as Prince Thomas of Clarence, Jeff Balla as Travers, Pito, Simon Shadow, Sir John Colville and the first groom, Mackenzie Medwin as Gower, the third drawer, and Thomas Wart, and Steve Anderson as King Henry IV. Open your ears! For which of you will stop the vent of hearing when loud rumor speaks? I, from the Orient to the drooping West, making the wind my post-horse, still unfold the axe commenced on this ball of earth. Upon my tongues continual slanders ride, the which in every language I pronounce, stuffing the ears of men with false reports. I speak of peace, while covert enmity under the smile of safety wounds the world. And who but rumor, who but only I, make fearful musters and prepare defense, whilst the big year, swoln with some other grief, is thought with child by the stern tyrant war, and no such matter. Rumor is a pipe, blown by surmises, jealousies, conjectures, and of so easy and so plain a stop, that the blunt monster with uncounted heads, the still discordant, wavering multitude can play upon it. But what need I thus my well-known body to anatomize among my household? Why is rumor here? I run before King Harry's victory, who in a bloody field by Shrewsbury hath beaten down young Hotspur and his troops, quenching the flame of bold rebellion, even with the rebels' blood. But what mean I to speak so true at first? My office is to noise abroad that Harry Monmouth fell under the wrath of noble Hotspur's sword, and that the king, before the Douglas's rage, stooped his anointed head as low as death. This have I rumored through the peasant towns, between that royal field of Shrewsbury and this worm-eaten hole of ragged stone, where Hotspur's father, old Northumberland, lies crafty sick. The posts come tiring on, and not a man of them brings other news than they have learnt from me, from rumor's tongues. They bring smooth comforts false, worse than true wrongs. Act 1, Scene 1. Enter the Lord Bardolph at one door.
Who keeps the gate here? Ho!
Enter the porter.
Where is the Earl?
What shall I say you are?
Tell thou the Earl that the Lord Bardolph doth attend him here.
His lordship has walked forth into the orchard. Please let your honor knock at the gate, and he himself will answer.
Enter the Earl of Northumberland, his head wrapped in a kerchief and supporting himself with a crutch.
Here comes the Earl.
What news, Lord Bardolph? Every minute now should be the father of some stratagem. The times are wild, contention, like a horse full of high feeding, madly hath broke loose and bears down all before him.
Noble Earl, I bring you certain news from Shrewsbury.
Good, and God will.
As good as heart can wish. The king is almost wounded to the death, and in the fortune of my lord your son, Prince Harry slain outright, and both the Blunts killed by the hand of Douglas. Young Prince John and Westmoreland and Stafford fled the field, and Harry Monmouth Brawn, the hulk Sir John, is prisoner to your son. Oh, such a day, so fought, so followed, and so fairly won, came not till now to dignify the times since Caesar's fortunes.
How is this derived? Saw you the field? Came you from Shrewsbury?
I spake with one, my lord, that came from thence, a gentleman well bred and of good name, that freely rendered me these news for true.
Enter Travers. Ah, here comes my servant Travers, who I sent on Tuesday last to listen after news.
My lord, I overrode him on the way, and he is furnished with no certainties more than he haply may retail from me.
Now, Travers, what good tidings comes with you?
My lord, Sir John Umfreville turned me back. With joyful tidings, and being better horsed, outrode me. After him came spurring hard a gentleman, almost forespent with speed, that stopped by me to breathe his bloodied horse. He asked the way to Chester, and of him I did demand what news from Shrewsbury. He told me that rebellion had bad luck, and that young Harry Percy's spur was cold. With that he gave his able horse the head, and, bending forward, struck his armed heels against the panting sides of his poor jade, up to the rowel head, and starting so, he seemed in running to devour the way, staying no longer question.
Again, said he young Harry Percy's spur was cold. Of hot spur, cold spur. That rebellion had met ill luck.
My lord, I'll tell you what, if my young lord your son have not the day, upon mine honor, for a silken point I'll give my barony. Never talk of it.
Why should that gentleman that rode by Travers give them such instances of loss?
Who? He? He was some hilding fellow that had stolen the horse he rode on, and upon my life spoke at a venture.
Enter Morton.
Look, here comes more news.
Yea, this man's brow, like to a tidal leaf, foretells the nature of a tragic volume. So looks the strand whereon the imperious flood hath left a witnessed usurpation. Say, Morton, didst thou come from Shrewsbury?
I ran from Shrewsbury, my noble lord, where hateful death put on his ugliest mask to fright our party.
How doth my son and brother? Thou tremblest, and the whiteness in thy cheek is apter than thy tongue to tell thy errand. Even such a man, so faint, so spiritless, so dull, so dead in look, so woe-begone, drew Priam's curtain in the dead of night, and would have told him half his Troy was burnt. But Priam found the fire ere he his tongue, and I my Percy's death ere thou report'st it. This thou wouldst say, your son did thus, and thus, your brother thus, so fought the noble Douglas, stopping my greedy ear with their bold deeds, but in the end, to stop my ear indeed, thou hast decided to blow away this praise, ending with brother, son, and all are dead.
Douglas is living, and your brother yet, but for my lord, your son.
Why, he is dead. See what a ready tongue suspicion hath. He that but fears the thing he would not know hath by instinct knowledge from others' eyes, that what he feared is chanced. Yet speak, Morton. Tell thou an earl his divination lies, and I will take it as a sweet disgrace, and make thee rich for doing me such wrong.
You are too great to be by me gainsend. Your spirit is too true, your fears too certain.
Yet for all this say not that Percy's dead. I see a strange confession in thine eyes. Thou shakest thy head and hold'st it fear or sin to speak a truth. If he be slain, say so. The tongue offends not that reports his death, and he doth sin that doth belie the dead. Not he which says the dead is not alive. Yet the first bringer of unwelcome news hath but a losing office, and his tongue sounds ever after as a sullen bell remembered tolling a departing friend.
I cannot think, my lord. Your son is dead.
I am sorry I should force you to believe that which I would to God I had not seen. But from these mine eyes saw him in a bloody state, rendering faint quittance wearied and outbreathed to Harry Monmouth, whose swift wrath beat down the never daunted Percy to the earth, from whence in with life he never more sprung up. In few, his death, whose spirit lent a fire even the dullest peasant in his camp, being bruited once, took fire and heat away from the best-tempered courage in his troops. For from his metal was his party steeled, which, once in him abated, all the rest turned on themselves, like dull and heavy lead. And as the thing that's heavy in itself upon enforcement flies with greatest speed, so did our men, heavy in Hotspur's loss, lend to his weight such lightness with their fear, that arrows fled not swifter towards their aim than did soldiers aiming at their safety. Fly from the field. Then was that nobler Worcester so swoonly taken prisoner, and that furious Scot, that bloody Thomas, whose well-labouring sword hath 3 times slain the appearance of the king, gained veil his stomach and did grace the shame of those that turned their backs, and in his flight, stumbling in fear, was took. The sum of all is that the king hath won, and hath sent out a speedy power to encounter you, my lord, under the conduct of young Lancaster and Westermore. This is the news at full.
This I shall have time enough to mourn. In poison there is physic, and these news having been well, that would have made me sick. Being sick, have in some measure made me well. And as the wretch whose fever weakened joints like strengthless hinges buckle under life, impatient of his fit, breaks like a fire out of his keeper's arms, even so my limbs, weakened with grief, being now enraged with grief, are thrice themselves. Hence, therefore, thou nice crutch, a scaly gauntlet now with joints of steel must glove this hand. And hence, thou sickly coif, thou art a guard too wanton for the head, which princes, fleshed with conquest, aim to hit. Now bind my brows with iron, and approach the ragged'st hour that time and spite dare bring to frown upon the enraged Northumberland. Let heaven kiss earth. Now let not nature's hand keep the wild flood confined. Let order die, and let this world no longer be a stage to feed contention in a lingering act. But let one spirit of the firstborn Cain reign in all bosoms, that, each heart being set on bloody courses, the rude scene may end, and darkness be the barrier of the dead.
Sweet Earl, divorce not wisdom from your honor. The lives of all your loving accomplices lean on your health, the which if you give o'er to stormy passion may perforce decay. And sound the account of chance before you said, let us make head. It was your presurmise that in the dole of blows your son might drop. You knew he walked o'er perils on an edge, more likely to fall than in to get o'er. You were advised his flesh was capable of wounds and scars, and that his forward spirit would lift him where most trait of danger ranged. Yet did you say, go forth, and none of this, though strongly apprehended, could restrain the stiff-born action. What hath then befallen? Or what did this bold enterprise forth bring? More than that being which was to like to be.
We all that are engaged to this loss knew that we ventured on such dangerous seas, that if we wrought our life, 'twas 10 to 1. And yet we ventured, for the gain proposed choked the respect of likely peril feared. And since we are o'erset, venture again. Come, we will all put forth body and goods.
Is more than time. And my most noble lord, I hear for certain and dare speak the truth. The gentle Archbishop of York is off with well-appointed powers. He is a man who with a double surety binds his followers. My lord, your son had only but the corpse, but shadows and the shows of men to fight. For that same word rebellion did divide the action of their bodies from their souls. And they did fight, with queasiness constrained, as men drink potions, but that their weapons only seemed on our side. But for their spirits and souls, this word, rebellion, it had froze them up as fish are in a pond. But now, the bishop turns insurrection to religion, supposed sincere and holy in his thoughts. He's followed both by body and with mind, and doth enlarge his rising from the blood of fair King Richard, scraped from proffered stones, derived from heaven his quarrel and his cause, tells them he doth bestride a bleeding land, gasping for life under great Bolingbroke, and more do less, do flock to follow him.
Knew of this before, but to speak truth, this present grief had wiped it from my mind. Go in with me, and counsel every man the aptest way for safety and revenge. Get posts and letters, and make friends with speed. Never so few, and never yet more need. They exit. Act 1, Scene 2. Enter Sir John Falstaff with his page bearing his sword and buckler.
Sirrah, you giant. What says the doctor to me water?
He said, sir, the water itself was a good, healthy water, but for the party that owned it, he might have more diseases than he knew for.
Men of all sorts take a pride to gird at me. The brain of this is foolish compounded clay man is not able to invent anything that intends to laughter more than I invent, or is invented on me. I am not only witty in myself, but the cause that wit is on other men. I do here walk before thee like a sow that hath overwhelmed all her litter but one. If the prince put thee into my service for any other reason than to set me off, why then I have no judgment. Thou, whoresome mandrake, thou art fitter to be worn in my cap than to wait at my heels. I was never mannered with an agate until now, but I will inset you, neither in gold nor silver, but in vile apparel, and send you back to your master for a duel. The juvenile, the prince, your master, whose chin is not yet fledged, well, I will sooner have a beard grow in the palm of my hand than he shall get one off his cheek, and yet he will not stick to his face. Is a face royale. I mean, God might finish it when he will. 'Tis not a hair amiss yet. He may keep it still at face royale, for a barber shall never earn sixpence out of it. And yet he'll be crowning as if he had ripped man ever since his father was a bachelor. He may keep his own grace, but he's almost out of mine, I can assure him. What said Master Domblington about the satin for my short cloak and my slops?
He said, sir, that you should procure him with better assurance than Bardolph. He would not take his band and yours. He liked not the security.
Well, let him be damned like the glutton. Pray God his tongue be hotter, a whoresome atchifanal, a rascally, yea, so forth knave, to bear a gentleman in hand, and then stand upon security? The whoresome smoothie pates do now wear nothing but high shoes of bunches of keys at their girdles, and if a man is thought with them in honest taking up, and they must stand upon security, I looked he should have sent me 22 yards of satin, as I am a true knight, and he sends me security. Well, he may sleep in security, for he hath the horn of abundance, and the lightness of his wife shines through it. Yet he cannot see, though he have his own lantern to light him. Where's Bardolph?
He's gone in Smithfield to buy your worship a horse.
Well, I bought him in Paul's. and he'll buy me a horse in Smithfield. And I could get me bold wife in the shoes I were manned, horsed, and wived.
Enter the Lord Chief Justice and a servant.
Sir, here comes the nobleman that committed the prince for striking him about Bardolph.
Oh, wait close. I will not see him.
What's he that goes there?
Falstaff, and it please your lordship.
He that was in question for the robbery?
He, my lord. But he hath since done good service at Shrewsbury, and as I hear, is now going with some charge to the Lord John of Lancaster.
What, to York? Call him back again.
Sir John Falstaff?
Boy, tell him I'm deaf.
You must speak louder. My master is deaf.
I am sure he is, to the hearing of anything good. Go pluck him by the elbow. I must speak with him.
Sir John.
Hey, what a young knave. And begging? Is there not wars? Is there not employment? Does not the king lack subjects? Do not the rebels need soldiers? Oh, don't be ashamed to be on any side but one. It is worse shame to beg than to be on the worst side. Were it worse, then the name of rebellion can tell how to make it.
You mistake me, sir.
Oh, why, sir? Did I say thou wert an honest man? Setting my knighthood and my soldiership aside, I'd lied in my throat if I'd said so.
I pray you, sir, then set your knighthood and your soldiership aside and give me leave to tell you, you lie in your throat if you say I am any other than an honest man.
I give thee leave to tell me so. I lay aside that which grows to me. If thou gettest any leave of me, hang me. If thou takest leave, thou wert better be hanged, you hunt counter. Hence, avaunt!
Sir, my lord would speak with you.
Sir John Falstaff, a word with you.
Oh, my good lord. God give your lordship good time of the day. I am glad to see your lordship abroad. I heard say your lordship was sick. I hope your lordship goes abroad by advice. Your lordship, though not clean past your youth, have yet some smack of ague in you, some relish of the saltiness of time in you. I most humbly beseech your lordship to have a reverent care to your health.
Sir John, I sent for you before your expedition to Shrewsbury.
And please your lordship, I hear his majesty is returned with some discomfort from Wales.
I talk not of his majesty. You would not come when I sent for you.
And I hear, moreover, his highness is fallen into this same wholesome apoplexy.
Well, God mend him. I pray you, let me speak with you.
This apoplexy, as I take it, is a kind of lethargy. And it please your lordship, a kind of sleeping in the blood, a wholesome tingling.
What tell you me of it? Be it as it is.
It hath original from much grief, from study, and perturbation of the brain. I've read the cause of its effects in Gallum. It's a kind of deafness.
I think you are fallen into the disease, for you hear not what I say to you.
Oh, very well, my lord, very well. Rather, and it please you, it is not the disease of not listening, the malady of not marking, that I am troubled withal.
To punish you by the heels would amend the attention of your ears, and I care not if I do become your physician.
Well, I am as poor as Job, my lord, but not so patient. Your lordship may minister the portion of imprisonment to me in respect of poverty. But how I should be your patient to follow your prescriptions, the wise may make some dram of a scruple, or indeed a scruple itself.
I sent for you, when there were matters against you for your life, to come speak with me.
As I was then advised by my learned counsel in the laws of this land service, I did not come.
Well, the truth is, Sir John, you live in great infamy.
Oh, he that buckles himself into my belt cannot live in less.
Your means are very slender, and your waist is great.
I would it were otherwise. I would my means were greater, and my waist slender.
You have misled the youthful prince.
The young prince hath misled me. I'm the fellow with the great belly, and he my dog.
Well, I am loath to gall a new-healed wound. Your day's service at Shrewsbury hath a little gilded over your night's exploit on Gad's Hill. You may thank the unquiet time for your quieter posting that action.
My lord.
But since all is well, keep it so. Wake not a sleeping wolf.
Well, to wake a wolf is as bad as to smell a fox.
What, you are as a candle, the better past burnt out.
A way-silk candle, my lord, and all tallow. If I did say of wax, my growth would approve truth.
There is not a white hair in your face, but should have his effect of gravity.
His effect of gravy, gravy, gravy.
You follow the young prince up and down like his ill angel.
Not so, my lord. Your ill angel is light, but I hope that he looks upon me will take me without weighing. And yet in some respects, I grant, I cannot go. I cannot tell. Virtue is of so little regard in these cloister-moisters times that true valour is turned bare-herd. Pregnancy is made a tapster, and hath his quick wit wasted in giving reckonings. All the other gifts are pertinent to man, as the malice of this age shapes. Them are not worth the gooseberry. You that are old consider not the capacities of us that are young. You do measure the heat of our livers with the bitterness of your galls, and we that are in the vineyard of our youth must confess are wags too.
Do you set down your name in the scroll of youth that are written down old with all the characters of age? Have you not a moist eye, a dry hand, a yellow cheek, a white beard, a decreasing leg, an increasing belly? Is not your voice broken, your wind short, your chin double, your wit single, and every part about you blasted with antiquity? And yet you call yourself young. Fie, 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 Sir John.
My lord, I was born at about 3 o'clock in the afternoon with a white head and something of a round belly. For my voice, I have lost it with hallowing and singing of anthems. To approve my youth further, I will not. The truth is, I am only old in judgment and understanding. And he that will caper with me for 1,000 marks, let him lend me the money and have it him. For the box of the year the prince gave you, he gave it like a rude prince, and you took it like a sensible lord. I've checked him for it, and the young lion repents. Married not in ashes and sackcloth, but in new silk and old sack.
Well, God send the prince a better companion.
Oh, God send the companion a better prince. I cannot get rid of my hands of him.
Well, the king hath severed you and Prince Harry. I hear that you are going with Lord John of Lancaster against the Archbishop and the Earl of Northumberland.
Yea, I thank your pretty sweet wit for it. But look ye pray. All you that kiss my lady peace at home, that our armies join not in a hot day, for by the Lord, I take but 2 shirts out with me, and I mean not to sweat extraordinary. If it be a hot day and I brandish anything but a bottle, I would I might never spit white again. There is not a dangerous action can peep out of his head, but I am thrust upon it. Well, I cannot last ever, but is always yet been the trick of our English nation, if they have a good thing, to make it too common. If you will needs say I am an old man, you should give me rest. I would to God my name were not so terrible to the enemy as it is. I would were better to be eaten to death with rust than to be scoured to nothing with perpetual motion.
Well, be honest, and God bless your expedition.
Will your lordship lend me £1,000 to furnish me forth?
Not a penny, not a penny. You are too impatient to bear crosses. Fare you well. Commend me to my cousin Westmoreland.
Lord Chief Justice and his servant exit.
If I do, fillip me with a 3-man beetle. A man could do no more than separate age and convertness than he can part young limbs and lechery. But the gout galls one, and the pox pinches the other, and so both the degrees prevent my curses. A boy?
Sir,
What money is in my purse?
7 groats and 2 pence.
I could get no remedy against this consumption of the purse. Borrowing only lingers and lingers it out. The disease is incurable. It go. Bear this letter to my Lord of Lancaster. This to the Prince. This to the Earl of Westmoreland, and this to old Mistress Ursula, whom I have weakly sworn to marry since I perceived the first white hair of my chin. About it. You know where to find me.
Page exits.
A pox on this gout, or a gout on this pox. For the one or the other plays the rogue with me great toe. She's no matter if I do hold. I have the wars for my colour, and my pension shall seem the more reasonable. A good wit will make use of anything, and I will turn diseases to commodity.
He exits. Act 1, Scene 3. Enter the Archbishop of York, Thomas Mowbray, the Lord Hastings, and Lord Bardolph.
Thus have you heard our cause and known our means, and my most noble friends, I pray you all speak plainly your opinions of our host. And first, Lord Marshal, what say you to it?
I well allow the occasion of our arms, but gladly would be better satisfied how in our means we should advance ourselves to look with forehead bold and big enough upon the power and puissance of the king.
Our presence musters grow upon the file 2, 5, and 20,000 men of choice, and our supplies live largely in the hope of great Northumberland, whose bosom burns of great incest fires of injuries.
The question then, Lord Hastings, standeth thus, whether our present 5 and 20,000 may hold up head without Northumberland.
With him we may.
Yea, marry, there's the point. But if without him we be thought too feeble, my judgment is we should not step too far till we had his assistance by the hand. For in a theme so bloody-faced as this, conjecture, expectation, and surmise of aids in certain should not be admitted.
'Tis very true, Lord Bardolph, for indeed it was young Hotspur's cause at Shrewsbury.
It was, my lord, who lined himself with hope, eating the air on promise of supply, flattering himself in project of a power much smaller than the smallest of his thoughts, and so, with great imagination proper to madmen, led his powers to death, and winking leaped into destruction.
But by your leave, it never yet did hurt to lay down likelihoods and forms of hope.
Yes, if this present quality of war, indeed the instant action, a cause on foot lives so in hope as in an early spring we see the appearing buds, which to prove fruit, hope gives not so much warrant as despair that frost will bite them. When we mean to build, we first survey the plot, then draw the model. And when we see the figure of the house, then must we rate the cost of the erection, which if we find outweighs ability, what do we then but draw anew the model in fewer offices, or at last desist to build it all? Much more in this great work, which is almost to pluck a kingdom down and set another up, should we survey the plot of situation in the model, consent upon a sure foundation, question surveyors, know our own estate, How able such a work to undergo, to weigh against his opposite. Or else we fortify in paper and in figures, using the names of men instead of men, like one that draws the model of a house beyond his power to build it, who, half through, gives o'er and leaves his part created cost a naked subject to the weeping clouds and waste for churlish winter's tyranny.
Grant that our hope, yet likely a fair birth, should be a stillborn, and that we now possess the utmost man of expectation. I think we are a body strong enough even if we are equal with the king.
What, is the king but 5 and 20,000?
To us no more, nay, not so much. Lord Baltov, for his divisions, as this time do brawl, are in 3 heads, one the power against the French, and one against Glendower. Perforce a third must take up us, so that the unfirm king is 3 divided, and his coffers sound with hollows, poverty, and emptiness.
That he should draw his several strengths together and come against us in full presence need not be dreaded.
If he should do so, he leaves his back unarmed, the French and the Welsh. Baying him heels, never fear that.
Who is it like should lead his forces hither?
The Duke of Lancaster and Westmoreland, against the Welsh himself, and Harry Monmouth. But who is substituted against the French? I have no certain notice.
Let us on, and publish the occasion of our arms. The Commonwealth is sick of their own choice. Their overgreedy love hath surfeited, and habitation giddy and unsure hath he that buildeth on the vulgar heart. Oh, thou fond many, with what loud applause didst thou beat heaven with blessing Bolingbroke before he was what thou wouldst have him be? And being now trimmed in thine own desires, thou, beastly feeder, art so full of him that thou provokest thyself to cast him up. So, common dog, didst thou disgorge thy glutton bosom of the royal Richard, and now thou wouldst eat thy dead vomit up and health to find it. What trust is in these times? They that, when Richard lived, would have him die, are now become enamored on his grave. Thou, that threwst dust upon his goodly head, when through proud London came he sighing on after the admired heels of Bolingbroke, criest now, O earth, yield us that king again, and take thou this. O thoughts of men accursed, past and to come seems best, things present worse.
Shall we go draw our numbers and set on?
We are time subjects, and time bids be gone.
They exit. End of Act 1. Act 2, Scene 1. Enter hostess Quickly of the tavern with 2 officers, Fang and Snare, who lags behind.
Master Fang, have you entered the action?
It is entered.
Where's your yeoman? Is it a lusty yeoman? Will he stand to it?
Sirrah, where's Snare?
Oh, Lord, good Master Snare. Here, I'm here.
Snare, we must arrest Sir John Falstaff.
Yeah, good Master Snare, I have entered him and all.
It may chance cost us our lives, for he will stab.
Blast the day, take heed of him. He stabbed me in mine own house, and that most beastly in good faith. He cares not what mischief he does. If his weapon be out, he will foin like any devil. He will spare neither man, woman, nor child.
If I can close with him, I care not for his thrust.
No, nor I either. I'll be at your elbow.
And I but fist him once, and he come within my view.
I am undone by his going. I warned you, he is an infinite thing upon my score. Master Fang, hold him sure. But Master Snare, let him not escape. He comes continually to Pie Corner, saving your manhoods, to buy a saddle, and he is indicted to dinner at the Lubber's Head in Lumbert Street to Master Smooth the Silkman. I pray you, since my exile is entered, and my case so openly known to the world, let him be brought into his answer. 100 mark is a long one for a poor lone woman to bear, and I have borne and borne and borne, and been fubbed off and fubbed off and fubbed off, from this day to that day, that it is no shame to be thought on. There is no honesty in such dealing, unless a woman should be made an ass and a beast to bear every knave's wrong. Yonder he comes, and that arrant Malmsey-nosed knave Bardolph with him. Do your officers, Master Fang and Master Snare. Do me your offices.
Enter Sir John Falstaff and Bardolph and the page.
Well, now. Whose mare's dead? What's the matter?
Sir John, I arrest you at the suit of Mistress Quickly.
Away, varlets! Draw, Bardolph, cut me off the villain's head. Throw the queen in the channel.
Throw me in the channel, I'll throw thee in the channel. Wilt thou, thou bastardly road? Murder, murder! Ah, thou honeysuckle villain, wilt thou kill God's officers and the king's? Ah, thou honeyseed rogue, thou art a honeyseed, a man-queller, and a woman-queller.
I'll keep 'em off, Bardolph.
A rescue, a rescue.
And people, a rescuer too. Thou what? What thou? Thou what? Do you, rogue? Do, thou hempseed.
Away, you scullion, you rampallion, you flusterillion, I'll tickle your catastrophe.
Enter the Lord Chief Justice and his men.
What is the matter? Keep the peace here, ho.
Good, my lord, be good to me. I beseech you, stand to me.
How now, Sir John? What, are you brawling here? Doth this become your place, your time, and your business? You should have been well on your way to York. Stand from him, fellow. Wherefore hang'st thou upon him?
Oh, my most worshipful lord, and it please your grace, I am a poor widow of Eastcheap, and he is arrested at my suit.
For what sum?
It is more than for some, my lord. It is for all I have. He hath eaten me out of house and home. He hath put all of my substance into that fat belly of his. But I will have some of it out again, or I will ride thee of nights like the mare.
I think I'm as like to ride the mare if I have any vantage of ground to get up.
How comes this, Sir John? Fie, what man of good temper would endure this tempest of explanation? Are you not ashamed to enforce a poor widow to so rough a course, to come by her own?
What is the gross sum that I owe thee?
Marry, if thou wert an honest man, thyself and the money too, thou didst swear to me upon a parcel gilt goblet, sitting in my dolphin chamber, at the round table by a sea-coal fire, upon Wednesday in Weeson week, when the prince broke thy head for liking his father to a singing man of Winster, thou didst swear to me then, as I was washing thy wound, to marry me, and make me my lady thy wife. Canst thou deny it? Did not goodwife Heach, the butcher's wife, come in then, and call me gossip quickly, coming in to borrow a mess of vinegar, telling us she'd a good dish of prawns, whereby thou desire to eat some, whereby I told thee they were ill for a green wound, and did thou not, when she was gone downstairs, desire me to be no more so familiar with poor people, saying that before long they should call me madame? And did thou not kiss me and bid me fetch thee 30 shillings? I put thee now to thy book oath. Deny it if thou can't.
My lord, this is a poor mad soul. She says up and down the town that her eldest son is like you. She hath been in good case, and the truth is, poverty hath distracted her. But for these foolish officers, I beseech you, that I may have redress upon them.
Sir John, I am well acquainted with your manner of wrenching the true cause the false way. It is not a confident brow, nor the throng of words that come with such more than impudent sauciousness from you, can thrust me from a level consideration. You have, as it appears to me, practiced upon the easy yielding spirit of this woman, and made her serve your uses both in purse and in person.
Yea, in truth, my lord.
Pray thee, peace. Pay her the debt you owe her, and unpay the villainy you have done with her. The one you may do with sterling money, the other with current repentance.
My lord, I will not undergo this sneap without reply. You call honourable boldness impudent sauciness. If a man may make curtsy and say nothing, he's virtuous. No, my lord, my humble duty remembered, I will not be your suitor. I say to you, I do desire deliverance from the officers being upon hasty employment in the king's affairs.
You speak as having power to do wrong, but answer in the effect of your reputation and satisfy the poor woman.
Well, come hither, hostess.
Enter Master Gower.
Now, Master Gower, what news?
The king, my lord, and Harry, Prince of Wales, are near at hand, and the rest the paper tells.
As I am a gentleman.
Faith, you said so before.
Well, as I am a gentleman, come. No more words of it.
By this heavenly ground I tread on, I must be famed upon both my plate and the tapestry of my dining chambers.
Glasses, glasses is the only drinking. And then for thy walls, a pretty sight dollary. All the work of a prodigal or German hunting is in watercolour is worth 1,000 of these bed hangers and these fly-bitten tapestries. Let it be £10, if thou canst. Come, and 'twere not for thy humours, there's not a better wench in England. Oh, go wash thy face and draw in the action. Come, thou must not be in this humour with me. Dost thou not know me? Come, come. Thou know thou wast set on to this.
Pray thee, Sir John, let it be but 20 nobles. In faith, I am loath to pawn my plate, so God save me.
But let it alone. I'll make other shift. You be a fool still.
Well, you shall have it, though I pawn my gown. I hope you'll come to supper. You'll pay me altogether.
Will I live? Go with her. Hook on, hook on.
Will you have Doll Tearsheet meet you at supper?
No more words. Let's have her.
The hostess, Fang, Snare, Bardolph, and the page, and others exit.
I have heard better news.
What's the news, my good lord?
Where lay the king tonight?
At Basingstoke, my lord.
I hope, my lord, all's well. What is the news, my lord?
Come all his forces back?
No, 500 foot, 500 horses are marched up to my lord of Lancaster against the Northumberlands and the Archbishop.
Comes the king back to Wales, my noble lord?
You shall have letters of me presently. Come, go along with me, good Master Gar.
My lord!
What's the matter?
Master Gower, shall I entreat you with me to dinner?
I must wait upon my good lord here. I thank you, good Sir John.
Sir John, you loiter here too long, being you are to take soldiers up in counties as you go.
Will you sup with me, Master Gower?
What foolish master taught you these manners, Sir John?
Master Gower, if they become me not, he was the fool that taught them me. This is the right and fencing place, my lord. Tap for tap, and so part fair.
Now the Lord lighten thee. Thou art a great fool.
They separate and exit. Act 2, Scene 2. Enter the prince and Poins.
For God, I am exceeding weary.
Is it come to that? I'd thought weariness just not have attached one of so high blood.
Faith it does me, though it discolors the complexion of my greatness to acknowledge it. Doth it not show vilely in me to desire small beer?
Why, a prince should not be so loosely studied as to remember so weak a composition.
Belike then my appetite was not princely got, for by my troth I do now remember the poor creature's small beer. But indeed these humble considerations make me out of love with my greatness. What a disgrace it is to me to remember thy name, or to know thy face tomorrow, or to take note how many pair silk stockings thou hast. But these, and those that wear thy peach-colored ones, or to bear thy inventory of thy shirts, as one for superfluity and another for use. But that the tennis court keeper knows better than I. For it is a low ebb of linen with thee when thou keep'st not racket there, as thou hast not done a great while, because the rest of the Low Countries have made a shift to eat up thy island. God knows whether those that fall out the ruins of thy linen shall inherit his kingdom. But the midwives say the children are not in the fault, whereupon the world increases and kindreds are mightily strengthened.
How ill it follows. After you've labored so hard, you should talk so idly. And tell me, how many good young princes would do so, their fathers being so sick as yours at this time is?
Shall I tell thee one thing, Points?
Yes, Faith, and let it be an excellent good thing.
It shall serve among wits of no higher breeding than thine.
Go to. I stand the push of your one thing that you will tell.
Mary, I tell thee, it is not meet that I should be sad now my father is sick. Albeit I could tell to thee, as to one it pleases me, for fault of a better, to call my friend, I could be sad, and sad indeed too.
Very hardly upon such a subject.
By this hand, thou thinkest me as far in the devil's book as thou in Falstaff for obduracy and persistency. Let the end try the man. But I tell thee, my heart bleeds inwardly that my father is so sick. And keeping such vile company as thou art hath in reason taken from me all ostentation of sorrow.
The reason?
What wouldst thou think of me if I should weep?
I would think thee a most princely hypocrite.
Be every man's thought. And thou art a blessed fellow to think as every man thinks. Every man's thought in the world keeps the roadway better than thine. Every man would think me a hypocrite indeed. And what excites your most worshipful thought, think so?
Why, because you've been so lewd and so much engraft to Falstaff.
And to thee?
By this light, I'm well spoken. I can hear it with mine own ears. The worst that they can say of me is that I'm a second brother and that I'm a proper fellow of my hands. And those two things, I confess, I cannot help. By the mass, here comes Bardolph.
Enter Bardolph and the page.
And the boy I gave Falstaff. He had him from Christian, and look if the fat villain have not transformed him.
God save your grace.
Now, my lord, through a red lattice, and I could discern no part of his face from the window. At last I spied his eyes, and methought that he had made 2 holes in his alewife's new petticoat, and so peeped through.
That's not the boy method.
Away, you horse, son upright rabbit, away!
Away, you rascally Althea's dream, away!
Instruct us, boy. Dream, boy.
Marry, my lord, Althea dreamt she was delivered of a firebrand, and therefore I call him her dream.
The crown's worth a good interpretation. There it is, boy.
Oh, that this good blossom could be kept from cankers. Well, there's 6pence to preserve thee.
And you do not make him be hanged among you, the gallows shall have wrong.
And how doth thy master, Bardolph?
Well, my good lord, he heard of your grace's coming to town. There's a letter for you.
Delivered with good respect. And how doth the Martimas your master?
In bodily health, sir.
Marry, the immortal part needs a physician, but that moves not him. Though that be sick, it dies not.
Oh, I do allow this Wen to be familiar with me as my dog, and he holds his place. For look you how he rides.
John Falstaff Knight. Every man must know that as oft as he has occasion to name himself, even like those that are kin to the king, for they never prick their finger, but they say, there's some of the king's blood spilt. How comes that, says he that takes upon him not to conceive? The answer is as ready as a borrower's cap. I am the king's poor cousin, sir.
Nay, they will be kin to us, or they will fetch it from Japheth. But to the letter. Sir John Falstaff, Knight, to the son of the king nearest his father, Harry, Prince of Wales, greeting.
Why, this is a certificate.
Yes. I will imitate the honorable Romans in brevity.
He sure means brevity in breath, short-winded.
I commend thee, and I leave thee. Be not too familiar with poems, for he misuses thy favors so much that he swears thou art to marry his sister Nell. Repent at idle times as thou mayest, and so farewell. Thine by yea and no, which has much to say as thou used him, Jack Falstaff with my familiars, John with my brothers and sisters, and Sir John with all Europe.
My lord, I'll steep this letter in sack and make him eat it.
That's to make him eat 20 of his words. But do you use me thus, Ned? Must I marry your sister?
God send the wench no worse fortune, but I never said so.
Well, thus we play fools with the time, and the spirits of the wise sit in the clouds and mock us. Your master here in London?
Yea, my good lord.
Where sups he? At the old wharf, the old Frank?
At the old place, my lord, in Eastcheap.
What company?
Ephesians, my lord, of the old church.
Sup any women with him?
None, my lord, but old Mistress Quickly and Mistress Doll Tearsheet.
What pagan may that be?
A proper gentlewoman, sir, and a kinswoman of my master's.
Even such kin as the parish heifers are to the town bull. Shall we steal upon them, Ned, at supper?
I'm your shadow, my lord. I'll follow you.
Sirrah, you will. And pardon. No word to your master that I am yet come to town. There's for yourself.
I have no tongue, sir.
And for mine, sir, I will govern it.
Very well.
Bardolph and the page exit.
This Doll Tearsheet should be some road.
I warrant you, as common as the way between St. Albans and London.
How might we see Falstaff bestow himself tonight in his true colors and not ourselves be seen?
Put on 2 leathern jerkins and aprons and wait upon him at his table as drawers.
From a god to a bull, a heavy dissension. It was Job's case. From a prince to apprentice. A low transformation that shall be mine, for in everything the purpose must away with the folly. Follow me, Ned.
They exit. Act 2, Scene 3. Enter Northumberland, his wife, and the wife to Harry Percy. I pray thee, loving wife and gentle daughter, give even way unto my rough affairs. Put not you on the visage of the times, and be, like them, to Percy troublesome.
I have given over, I will speak no more. Do as you will. Your wisdom be your guide.
Alas, sweet wife, my honor is at pawn, and but my going nothing can redeem it.
Oh, yet for God's sake, go not to these wars. The time was, Father, that you broke your word, when you were more endeared to it than now. When your own Percy, when my heart's dear Harry through many a northward looked to see his father bring up his powers, but he did long in vain. Who then persuaded you to stay at home? There were 2 honors lost, yours and your son's. For yours, the God of heaven brighten it, for his. It stuck upon him as the sun in the gray vault of heaven, and by his light did all the chivalry of England move to do brave acts. He was indeed the glass wherein the noble youth did dress themselves. He had no legs that practiced not his gait, and speaking thick, which nature made his blemish, became the accents of the valiant. For those who could speak low and heartedly would turn their own perfection to abuse to seem like him. So that in gait, in diet, in affections of delight, military rules, humors of blood, he was the mark and glass, the copy and book that fashioned others. And him, oh, wondrous him, oh, miracle of men, him did you leave second to none, unseconded by you, to look upon the hideous god of war and disadvantage, to abide a field where nothing but the sound of Hotspur's name did seem defensible, and so you left him. Never do his ghost the wrong to hold your honor more precise and nice with others than with him. Let them alone. The marshal and the archbishop are strong. Had my sweet Harry had but half their numbers, today might I, hanging on Hotspur's neck, have talked of Monmouth's grave.
Beshrew your heart, fair daughter, you do draw my spirits from me with new lamenting ancient oversights. But I must go and meet with danger there, or it will seek me in another place and find me worse provided.
Oh, fly to Scotland till that the nobles and the armed commons have their puissance made a little taste.
If they get ground and vantage of the king, then join you with them like a rib of steel, to make strength stronger. But for all our loves, first let them try themselves. So did your son, he was so suffered. So came I a widow, and never shall have length of life enough to reign upon remembrance with mine eyes, that it may grow and high as heaven, for recordation in my noble husband.
Come, go in with me. 'Tis with my mind as with the tide swelled up unto his height, that makes us still stand running neither way. Fain would I go to meet the archbishop, but many thousand reasons hold me back. I will resolve for Scotland. There am I till time and vantage crave my company.
Far behind.
They exit. Act 2, Scene 4. Enter Francis and another drawer.
What the devil hast thou brought here? Apple John? Thou knowest Sir John cannot endure an apple John.
Mass, thou say'st true. The prince once set a dish of apple johns before him, and told him that there were 5 more Sir Johns, and putting off his hat, said, I will now take my leave of these 6 dry, round, old withered knights. It hangered him to the heart, but he hath forgot that.
Why then cover and set them down, and see if thou canst find out Sneak's noise. Mr. Tearsheet would fain hear some music. Dispatch. The room where they supped is too hot. They'll come in straight.
Enter Will, the third drawer.
Hang on, I'm kind of. Sorry, can we go back?
Francis, why then cover and set them down?
Why then cover and shut them down, and see if thou canst find out Sneak's noise. Mistress Tearsheet would fain hear some music. Dispatch. The room where they supped is too hot. They'll come in straight.
Sirrah, here will be the prince and Master Poins anon, and they will put on 2 of our jerkins and aprons, and Sir John must not know of it. Bardolph hath brought word.
By the mass, here will be old Eustace. It will be an excellent stratagem.
I'll see if I can find out Sneak.
Francis and the second drawer exit. Enter the hostess and Doll Tearsheet.
In faith, sweetheart, methinks now you are in an excellent good temporality. Your pulsage beats as extraordinarily as any heart would desire, and your color, I warrant you, is as red as any rose, in good truth. But in faith, you've drunk too much canaries. And that's a marvelous certain wine, and it perfumes the blood before one can say, what's this? How do you now?
Better than I was.
Why, that's well said. A good heart's worth gold. Lo, here comes Sir John.
Enter Sir John Falstaff.
When up the first in court, empty the Jordan, and was a worthy king. Oh, how now, Mistress Doll?
Sick of a calm, yeah?
So is all her sect, and they be once in a calm, they're all sick.
A pox damn you, you muddy rascal. Is that all the comfort you give me?
You make fat rascals, Mistress Doll.
I make them? Gluttony and diseases make them. I make them not.
If the cook helped to make the gluttony, you help to make the diseases. Doll, we catch of you, Doll, we catch of you. Grant that, my poor virtue, you grant that.
Yeah, joy, our chains and our jewels.
Your brooches, pearls, and your unches. For to serve bravely is to come halting off, you know. To come off the breach with his pike and bit bravely, and to surgery bravely, and to venture upon the charge of chambers bravely.
Hang yourself, you muddy conger, hang yourself.
By my troth, this is the old fashion. You two never meet, but you fall to some discord. You are both, in good truth, as rheumatic as 2 dry toasts. You cannot one bear with another's conformities. What the good year? One must bear, and that must be you. You are the weaker vessel, as they say, the emptier vessel.
Can a weak, empty vessel bear such a huge, full hogshead? There's old merchant's venture of Bordeaux stuff in him. You have not seen a hulk better stuffed in the hold. Come, I'll be friends with thee, Jack. Thou art going to the wars, and whether I shall ever see thee again or no, there is nobody cares.
Enter a drawer. Sir, ancient pistols below and would speak with you.
Hang him, swaggering rascal. Let him not come hither. It is the foul-mouthed rogue in England.
If he swagger, let him not come here. No, by my faith, I must live among my neighbors. I'll no swaggerers. I am in good name and fame with the very best. Shut the door. There comes no swaggerers here. I have not lived all this while to have swaggering now. Shut the door, I pray you.
Dost thou hear, hostess?
Pray you pacify yourself, Sir John. There comes no swaggerers here.
Dost thou hear? It is mine ancient.
Lily Valley, Sir John, never tell me. And your ancient swaggerer comes not in my doors. I was before Master Swift, the deputy, the other day, and, as he said to me, 'twas no longer ago than Wednesday. Neighbor Quickly, says he, Master Dumb, our neighbor, was by them. Neighbor quickly, says he, receive those that are civil for, said he, you are in an ill name. Now he said so, I can tell whereupon. For, says he, you are an honest woman, and well thought on. Therefore take heed what guests you receive. Receive, says he, no swaggering companions. There comes none here. You would bless you to hear what he said. No, I'll have no swaggerers.
Oh, he's no swaggerer, hostess. A tame cheater, in faith. You may stroke him as gently as a puppy greyhound. He'll not swagger with a Barbary hen if her feathers turn back in any show of resistance. You call him up, drawer.
Cheater, you call him? I will bar no honest man in my house, nor no cheater. But I do not love swaggering. By my troth, I am the worse when one says swagger. Feel, masters, how I shake. Look at you, I warrant you.
So you do, hostess.
Why, yes, in very truth do I. As if I were an aspen leaf. I cannot abide swaggerers.
Enter Pistol, Bardolph, and Page.
God save you, Sir John.
Welcome, ancient Pistol. Here, Pistol. I do charge you with a cup of sack. Do you discharge upon my hostess?
I will discharge upon her, Sir John, with 2 bullets.
Well, she's pistol proof. Sir, you shall not hardly offend her.
Come, I'll drink no proofs nor no bullets. I'll drink no more than will do me good, for no man's pleasure.
Then to you, Mistress Dorothy, I will charge you.
Charge me! I scorn you, scurvy companion. What, you poor, base, rascally, cheating, lack-linen mate? Away, you moldy rogue, away! I am meat for your master.
I know you, Mistress Dorothy.
Away, you cut-purse rascal, you filthy bung, away! By this wine, I'll thrust my knife in your moldy chaps, and you play the saucy couple with me. Away, you bottle ale rascal, you basket hill stale juggler, you! Since when, I pray you, sir, God's light with 2 points on your shoulder? Much?
God let me not live, but I will murder your ruff for this.
No more, Pistol. I would not have you go off here. Discharge yourself without company, Pistol.
No, good Captain Pistol, not here, sweet captain.
Captain? Thou abominable damned cheater, art thou not ashamed to be called captain? And captains were of my mind they would truncheon you out for taking their names upon you before you have earned them. You, a captain? You slave, for what? For tearing a poor whore's ruff in a bawdy house? He, a captain. Hang him, rogue. He lives upon a moldy stewed prunes and dried cakes. A captain? God's light, these villains will make the word as odious as the word occupy, which was an excellent good word before it was ill-sorted. Therefore, captains had need look to't.
Pray thee go down, good ancient.
Hark thee hither, Mistress Doll.
Not I. I tell thee what, Corporal Bardolph, I could tear her. I'll be revenged of her.
Pray thee go down.
I'll see her damned first to Pluto's damned lake, by this hand, to the infernal deep with Erebus and tortures vile. Hold hook and line, say I. Down, down, dogs, down, fates. Have we not Hiron here?
Good Captain Pistol, be quiet. 'Tis very late. I beseech you now, aggravate your choler.
These be good humours indeed. Shall pack horses and hollow pampered jades of Asia, which cannot go but 30 mile a day, compare with Caesars and with cannibals and Troyan Greeks? Nay, rather damn them with King Cerberus, and let the welkin roar. Shall we fall foul for toys?
By my troth, Captain, these are very bitter words.
Be gone, good ancient. This will grow to a brawl anon.
Die, men, like dogs. Give crowns like pins. Have we not Hiron here?
Oh, my word, Captain, there's none such here. What's the good ear? Do you think I would deny her? For God's sake, be quiet.
Then feed and be fat, my fair Calliopolis. Come, give some sack. Si fortune me tempte, septero me contento.
Fear we broadsides? No, let the fiend give fire. Give me some sack, and sweetheart, lie thou there. Come we to full points here, and our et ceteras nothings.
Your pistol, I would be quiet.
Sweet knight, I'd kiss thy knee. What? We have seen the 7 stars.
For God's sake, thrust him downstairs. I cannot endure such a fustian rascal.
Thrust him downstairs? Know we not Galloway nags?
Quieten him down, Bardoff, like a shoved groat shilling. Nay, and he'll do nothing but speak nothing. He shall get nothing here.
Come, get you downstairs.
What, shall we have incision? Shall we imbrue? Then death rock me asleep, abridge my doleful days. Why then let grievous ghastly gaping wounds unwind the sisters 3. Come, matcher-prose, I say.
Here's goodly stuff toward.
Give me my rapier, boy.
I pray thee, Jack, I pray thee, do not draw.
Who'll get you downstairs.
They fight.
Here's a goodly tumult. I'll forswear keeping house before I'll be in these turrets and frights. So, murder, I warrant now. Alas, alas, put up your naked weapons, put up your naked weapons.
Bardolph and Pistol exit.
I pray thee, Jack, be quiet, the rascal's gone. Ah, you whoreson little valiant villain, you.
Are you not hurt at the groin? Methought he made a shrewd thrust at your belly.
Enter Bardolph.
How have you turned him out of doors?
Yea, sir, the rascal's drunk. You have hurt him, sir, in the shoulder.
He's a rascal to brave me.
Ah, you sweet little rogue, you. Alas, poor ape, how thou sweetst. Come, let me wipe thy face. Come on, you horse and chops. Ah, roguey faith, I love thee. Thou art as valorous as Hector of Troy, worth 5 of Agamemnon, and 10 times better than the 9 worthies. Ah, villain.
Ah, rascally slave, I will toss the rogue in a blanket.
Do and thou darest for thy heart, and thou dost, I'll canvas thee between a pair of sheets.
Enter musicians and Francis.
The music has come, sir.
Oh, let them play. You play, sirs. Sit on my knee, doll. A rascling, bragging slave. The rogue fled from me like quicksilver.
Faith, and thou followedst him like a church. Thou horse a little tidy Bartholomew, boar pig, when wilt thou leave fighting a days and foining a night and begin to patch up thine old body for heaven?
Enter behind them the prince and Poins, disguised.
A pace, good doll. Do not speak like a deaf's head. Do not bid me remember mine end.
Sirrah, what humours the prince off?
A good shallow young fellow. He would make a good pantler. He would a chipped bread well.
They say Poins has a good wit.
He a good wit? Hang him, baboon. His wit is as thick as Tewkesbury mustard, and there's no more conceit in him than is in a mallet.
Why does the prince love him so, then?
Well, because their legs are both of a bigness, and he plays at quoits well, and eats conger and fennel, and drinks off candles' ends for flak dragons, and rides the wild mare with the boys, and jumps upon joint stools, and swears with a good grace, and wears his boots very smooth, like unto the sign of the leg, and breeds no bait with telling of discreet stories and such other gamble faculties that he has shown, a weak mind and an able body, for the which the prince admits him. For the prince himself is such another. The weight of a hair will turn the scales between their aphrodisiacs.
would not this knave of a wheel have his ears cut off?
Let's beat him before his whore.
Look where the withered elder hath not his pole clawed out like a parrot.
It's not strange that desire should so many years outlive performance.
Kiss me, doll.
Oh, Saturn and Venus this year in conjunction. What says the almanac to that?
And look whether the fiery Trigon, his man, be not lisping to his master's old tables, his notebook, his counsel keep.
Thou dost give me flattering buses.
By my troth, I kiss thee with a most constant heart.
Oh, I am old. I am old.
I love thee better than I love e'er a scurvy young boy of them all.
Oh, what stuff wilt thou make a kirtle of? I shall receive money on Thursday. Thou shalt have a cup tomorrow. A merry song. Go on, it grows late. We'll to bed. Thou forget me when I am gone.
By my troth, thou it set me a weeping, and thou sayest so. Prove that ever I dress myself handsome till thy return. Will hearken at the end.
Some sack, Francis.
Anon, sir.
Ah, the bastard son of the kings. And art not thou Poins his brother?
Why, thou globe of sinful continence, what a life dost thou lead?
Better than thou. I am a gentleman. Thou art a drawer.
Very true, sir. And I come to draw you out by the ears.
Oh, the Lord preserve thy grace. By my troth, welcome to London. Now, the Lord bless that sweet face of thine. Oh, Jesu, are you come from Wales?
Thou wholesome and compound of majesty by this light flesh and corrupt blood. Thou art welcome.
How? You fat fool, I scorn you.
My lord, he will drive you out of your revenge and turn all to merriment if you take not the heat.
You whoreson you. How vilely did you speak of me even now before this honest, virtuous, civil gentlewoman?
God's blessing of your good heart, and so she is, by my truth.
Dost thou hear me?
Yea, and you knew me as you did when you ran away by Gad's Hill. You knew I was at your back, and you spoke it on purpose to try my patience.
No, not so. I did not think thou wast within hearing.
I shall drive you then to confess the willful abuse, and then I know how to handle you.
No abuse, Hal. On mine honour. No abuse.
Not to dispraise me and call me pantler and bread chipper and I know not what?
No abuse, Hal.
No abuse?
No abuse, Ned. In the world, honest Ned, none. I dispraised him before the wicked, that the wicked might not fall in love with thee, in which doing I have done the part of a careful friend and a true subject, and thy father is to give me thanks for it. It's no abuse, Hal. None, Ned, none. No, Faith boys, none.
See now whether pure fear and entire cowardice doth not make thee wrong this virtuous gentlewoman to close with us. Is she of the wicked? Is thine hostess here of the wicked? Or is thy boy of the wicked? Or honest Bardolph, whose zeal burns in his nose of the wicked?
Answer, thou dead elm, answer.
The fiend had pricked down Bardolph, irrecoverable, and his face is Lucifer's privy kitchen, where he does nothing but roast malt worms. For the boy, there is a good angel about him, but the devil blinds him too.
For the women?
Well, for one of them, well, she's in hell already and burns poor souls. For the other, I owe her money, and whether she be damned for that, I know not.
No, I warrant you.
No, I think thou art not. I think thou art quite for that. Marry, there is another indicament upon thee for suffering flesh to be eaten in thy house, contrary to the law, for the which I think thou wilt howl.
All victuallers do so. What's a joint of mutton or two in a whole Lent?
You, gentlewoman.
What says your grace?
His grace says that which his flesh rebels against.
Who knocks so loud at the door? To the door there, Francis.
Exits and enter Pito.
Pito, how now? What news?
The king, your father, is at Westminster, and there are 20 weak and wearied posts come from the north. And as I came along, I met and overtook a dozen captains, bareheaded, sweating, knocking at the taverns and asking everyone for Sir John Falstaff.
My heaven points, I feel much to blame so idly to profane the precious time when tempest of commotion like the south born with black vapor doth begin to melt and drop upon our bare unarmed heads. Give you my sword and cloak. Falstaff. Good night.
Prince, Pito, and Poins exit.
It now comes in the sweetest morsel of the night, and we must hence and leave it unpicked. No more knocking at the door.
Bardolph returns.
Oh, how now? What's the matter?
You must away to court, sir, presently. A dozen captains stay at the door for you.
Pay the musician, sirrah. Farewell, hostess. Farewell, doll. You see, my good wenches, how men of merit are sought after. The undeserver may sleep when the man of action is called on. Farewell, good wenches. If I be not sent away post, I will see you again ere I go.
I cannot speak. If my heart be not ready to burst, well, sweet Jack, have a care of thyself.
Farewell. Farewell.
He exits with Bardolph, the page, and musicians.
Well, fare thee well. I have known thee these 29 years. Come Peascod time, but an honester and truer-hearted man, well, fare thee well.
Mistress Tearsheet.
What's the matter?
Bid Mistress Tearsheet come to my master.
Oh, run, doll, run, good doll. Come, she comes blubbered. Yeah, will you come, doll?
They exit. End of Act 2. Act 3, Scene 1. Enter the king in his nightgown with a page.
Go, call the Earls of Surrey and of Warwick. But ere they come, get them more read, yes, these letters, and well consider of them. Make good speed.
The page exits.
How many thousand of my poorest subjects are at this hour asleep? Sleep, oh, gentle sleep, nature's soft nurse, how have I frighted thee? Thou no more wilt weigh my eyelids down and steep my senses in forgetfulness. Why, rather, sleep liest thou in smoky cribs, upon uneasy pallets stretching thee, and hushed with buzzing night flies to thy slumber, than in the perfumed chambers of the great, under the canopies of costly state, and lulled with sound of sweetest melody. Oh, thou dull god, why liest thou with the vile in loathsome beds, and leavest the kingly couch a watch case, or common larum bell? Wilt thou upon the high and giddy mast seal up the ship boy's eyes, and rock his brains in cradle of the rude imperious surge, and in the visitation of the winds, who take the ruffian billows by the top, curling their monstrous heads and hanging them with deafening clamor in the slippery clouds that with the hurly death itself awakes? Canst thou, O partial sleep, Give thy repose to the wet sea boy in an hour so rude, and in the calmest, most stillest night, with all appliances and means to boot, deny it to a king. Then happy low lie down. Uneasy lies the head that wears a crown.
Enter Warwick and other lords.
Many good morrows to your majesty.
Is it good morrow, lords?
'Tis 1 o'clock, just past.
Why then, good morrow to you all, my lords. Have you read o'er the letter that I sent you?
We have, my liege.
Then you perceive the body of our kingdom, how foul it is, what rank diseases grow, and with what danger near the heart of it.
It is but as a body yet distempered, which to his former strength may be restored with good advice and little medicine. My lord Northumberland will soon be cooled.
Oh God, that one might read the book of fate and see the revolution of the times make mountains level, and the continent, weary of solid firmness, melt itself into the sea, and other times to see the beachy girdle of the ocean, too wide for Neptune's hips. How chances, mocks, and changes fill the cup of alteration with diverse liquors. Oh, if this were seen, the happiest youth, viewing his progress through, what perils past, what crosses to ensue, would shut the book and sit him down and die. 'Twas not 10 years gone since Richard and Northumberland, great friends, did feast together, and in 2 years after were they at wars. It is but 8 years since this Percy was the man nearest my soul, who like a brother toiled in my affairs, laid his life and life under my foot, yea, for my sake, even to the eyes of Richard gave him defiance. Which of you was by? You, cousin Neville, as I may remember, when Richard, with his eye brimful of tears, and checked and rated by Northumberland, did speak these words, now proved a prophecy. Northumberland, thou ladder by the which my cousin Bolingbroke ascends my throne. Though then, God knows, I had no such intent, but the necessity so bowed the state that I and greatness were compelled to kiss. The time shall come, thus did he follow it, the time will come, that foul sin, gathering head, shall break into corruption. So went on, foretelling this same time's condition and the division of our amity.
There is a history in all men's lives figuring the natures of the times deceased, the which observed a man may prophesy with a near aim of the main chance of things as yet not come to life, who in their seeds and weak beginning lie in treasuret. Such things become the hatch and brood of time, and by the necessary form of this, King Richard might create a perfect guess that great Northumberland, then false to him, would of that seed grow to a greater falseness, which should not find a ground to root upon, unless on you.
Are these things then necessities? Then let us meet them like necessities. And that same word even now cries out on us. They say the bishop and Northumberland are 50,000 strong.
It cannot be, my lord. Rumour doth double, like the voice and echo the numbers of the feared. Please it your grace to go to bed. Upon my soul, my lord, the powers that you already have sent forth shall bring this prize in very easily. To comfort you the more, I have received a certain instance that Glendower is dead. Your majesty hath been this fortnight ill, and these unseasoned hours perforce must add unto your sickness.
I will take your counsel. And were these inward wars once out of hand, we would, dear lords, unto the Holy Land.
They exit. Act 3, Scene 2. Enter Justice Shallow and Justice Silence.
Get it.
Come on, come on, come on. Give me your hand, sir. Give me your hand, sir. An earlier stirrer by the road, and how doth my cousin good Silence?
Good morrow, good cousin Shallow.
And how doth my cousin your bedfellow, and your fairest daughter, and mine, my good daughter Ellen?
Alas, a black ousel, cousin Shallow.
By yea and no, sir. I dare say my cousin William has become a good scholar. He is at Oxford still, is he not?
Indeed, sir, to my cost.
He must then to the Inns of Court shortly. I was once of Clement's Inn, where I think they talk of mad Shallow yet.
You are called lusty Shallow then, cousin.
By the mass, I was called anything, and I would have done anything indeed too, and roundly too. There was I, and little John Doit of Staffordshire, and Black John Barnes, and Francis Pickbone, and Will Squell, a Cotswold man, and you had not 4 such swingebucklers in all the Inns of Court again. And I may say to you, we knew where the Bonner brothers were, and had the best of them all at commandment. Then was Jack Falstaff, now Sir John, a boy, and page to Thomas Mowbray, Duke of Norfolk.
This Sir John, cousin, that come hither anon about soldiers?
The same Sir John, the very same. I see him break Scogan's head at the court gate when he was a crack, not thus I. And the very same day did I fight with one Samson Stockfish, the fruitier. He behind Gray's Inn. Jesu, Jesu, the mad days that I have spent. And see how many of my old acquaintances are dead.
We shall all follow, cousin.
Certain, 'tis certain, very sure, very sure. Death, as the psalmists say, is certain to all. All shall die. Our good yoke of bullocks at Stamford Fair.
By my troth, cousin, I was not there.
Death is certain. Is old Double of your town yet living?
Dead, sir.
Jesu, Jesu, dead? Oh, he drew a good bow and dead. He shot a fine shoot. John O'Gaunt loved him well and betted much money on his head. Dead. Oh, he would have clapped at a clout 12 score and carried you a 4-hand shaft, 14 and 14 and a half, that it would have done a man's heart good to see. How a score use now?
Therefore, as they be, a score of good use may be worth £10.
And is old Double dead?
Here come 2 of Sir John Falstaff's men, as I think.
Enter Bardolph and one with him.
Good morrow, honest gentlemen.
I beseech you, which is Justice Shallow?
I am Robert Shallow, sir, a poor esquire of this country and one of the king's justices of the peace. What is your good pleasure with me?
My captain, sir, commends him to you. My captain, Sir John Falstaff, a tall gentleman, by heaven, and a most gallant leader.
He greets me well, sir. I knew him a good backsword man. How doth the good knight? May I ask how my lady, his wife doth?
Sir, pardon. A soldier is better accommodated than with a wife.
It is well said, in faith, sir, and it is well said indeed too. Better accommodated. It is good, yea, indeed it is. Good phrases as surely and ever were. Very commendable, accommodated. It comes from accommodo. Very good, a good phrase.
Pardon, sir. I have heard the word. Phrase, you call it? By this day, I know not the phrase, but I will maintain the word with my sword to be a soldier-like word, and a word of exceeding good command by heaven, accommodated. That is when a man is, as they say, accommodated, or when a man is being whereby he may be thought to be accommodated, which is an excellent thing.
It is very just. Look, here comes good Sir John. Give me your good hand, give me your worship's good hand, boy, my troth. You like well and bear your years very well. Welcome, good Sir John.
Well, I'm glad to see you well, good Master Robert Shallow. Master Shawcard, is I think?
No, Sir John, it is my cousin Silence in commission with me.
Oh, good Master Silence. Well, where befits you should be of the peace.
Your good worship is welcome.
Fie, this is hot weather, gentlemen. Have you provided me here with half a dozen sufficient men?
Marry have we, sir. Will you sit?
Let me see 'em, I beseech you.
Where's the roll? Where's the roll? Where's the roll? Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. So. Yea, marry, sir. Rafe Mouldy. Let them appear as I call. Let them do so. Let them do so.
Enter Moldy, followed by Shadow, Wart, Feeble, and Bullcalf.
Let me see. Where is Mouldy?
Here, and it please you.
What think you, Sir John? A good-limbed fellow, young, strong, and of good friends.
Is thy name Mouldy?
Yea, and please you.
Well, 'tis the more time that I wert use.
Most excellent of faith, things that are mouldy lack use. Very singular good in faith. Well said, Sir John, very well said.
Well, prick him.
I was pricked well enough before, and you could let me alone. My old dame will be undone now, for one to do her husbandry and her drudgery. You need not have pricked me. There are other men fitter to go out than I.
Go to. Peace, Mouldy. You shall go. Mouldy, it is time you were spent.
Spent?
Pace, fellow, pace. Stand aside. Know you where you are? For the other, Sir John, let me see. Simon Shadow.
Oh, yay, Mary. Let me have him to sit under. He's like to be a cold soldier.
Where's Shadow?
Here, sir.
Shadow, whose son art thou?
My mother's son, sir.
Thy mother's son, like enough, and thy father's shadow. So the son of the female is the shadow of the male. It is often so, indeed, but much of the father's substance.
Do you like him, Sir John?
Well, shadow will serve for summer. Prick him, for we have a number of shadows to fill up the muster book.
Thomas Watt.
Where's he?
Here, sir.
Is thy name Wart?
Yes, sir.
Thou art a very ragged Wart.
Shall I prick him down, Sir John?
It were superfluous, for his apparel is built upon his back, and the whole frame stands upon pins. Prick him no more.
You can do it, sir. You can do it. I commend you well. Francis Fable. Francis Fable.
Sir?
What art thou, Fable?
A woman's tailor, sir.
Shall I prick him, sir?
Oh, you may. But if he had been a man's tailor, he'd have pricked you. Wilt thou make as many holes in an enemy's battle as thou hast done in a woman's petticoat?
I will do my good will, sir. You can have no more.
Well said. Good woman's tailor, well said, courageous Feeble. Thou wilt be as valiant as the wrathful dove, or the most magnanimous mouse. Prick the woman's tailor well, Master Shallow. Date, Master Shallow.
I would what might have gone, sir.
I would thou wert a men's tailor, that thou mightst mend him and make him fit to go. I cannot put him to a private soldier that is the leader of so many thousands. Let that suffice, most forcible Feeble.
It shall suffice, sir.
I'm bound to thee, Reverend Feeble. Who is the next?
Peter Bullcalf o' the Green.
Yea, Mary, let's say Bullcalf.
Yes, sir.
Oh, for God, a likely fellow. Come prick me, Bullcalf, till he roar again.
Oh, Lord, good my Lord Captain.
What, does thou roar before thou art pricked?
Oh, Lord, sir, I'm a diseased man.
What disease hast thou?
A morsome cold, sir. A cough, sir, which I caught with ringing in the king's affairs upon his coronation day, sir.
Thou shalt go to wars in a gown. We shall have away the cold, and I will take such order that my friend shall ring for thee. Is here all?
There is 2 more called than your number. You must have but 4 here, sir, and so I pray you go in with me to dinner.
Oh, come, I will go drink with you, but I cannot tarry dinner. I'm glad to see you by my troth, Master Shallow.
Oh, Sir John, do you remember since we lay all night in the windmill in St. George's Field?
Oh, no more of that, good Master Shallow. No more of that.
'Twas a merry night, and has Jane Nightwork alive?
Oh, she lives, Master Shallow.
She never could away with me.
Never, never. She would always say she could not abide Master Shallow.
By the mass, I could anger her to the heart. She was a born a robber. Doth she hold her own well?
Old, Master Shallow.
Nay, she must be old. She can't choose but be old. Certain she's old, and had Robin Nightwork, my old Nightwork, before I came to Clemensin.
That's 55 years ago.
Doesn't silence that thou hadst seen that this night, and I have seen. Sir John, said I well?
Oh, we have heard the chimes at midnight, Master Shallow.
Oh, that we have. In faith, Sir John, we have. Our watchword was hem, boys. Come, let's to dinner. Come, let's to dinner. Jesus, these days that we have seen. Come, come.
Shallow, Silence, and Falstaff rise and exit.
Good Master Corporate Balrol, stand, my friend, and here's 4 hairy 10 shillings in French crowns for you. In very truth, sir, I had as lief be hanged, sir, as go. And yet, for my own part, sir, I do not care, but rather because I am unwilling, and for my own part have a desire to stay with my friends. Else, sir, I did not care for my own part so much.
Go to, stand aside.
And, good Master Corporal Captain, for my old dame's sake, stand, my friend. She has nobody to do anything about her when I'm gone, and she is old and cannot help herself. You shall have 40, sir.
Go to, stand aside.
By my troth, I care not. A man can die but once. We owe God a death. I'll ne'er bear a base mind, and be my destiny so, and be not so. No man's too good to serve as prince, and let it go which way it will. He that dies this year is quit for the next.
Well said. Thou art a good fellow.
Faith, I'll bear no base mind. Enter Falstaff and the justices.
Come, sir, which men shall I have?
Fault of which you please.
Sir, a word with you. I have £3 to free Mouldy and Bullcraft.
Go to. Well.
Sir John, which 4 will you have?
Do you choose for me?
Merry then. Mouldy, Bullcraft, Fable, and Shadow.
Mouldy and Bullcraft? No, for you, Mouldy. Stay at home till you are past service. And for your part, Bullcraft, grow until you come into it. I will none of you.
Mouldy and Bullcalf exit.
Sir John, do not yourself wrong. They are your likeliest men, and I would have you served with the best.
Will you tell me, Master Shallow, how to choose a man? I mean, I care not for, care I for the limb, the thews, the stature, bulk, big semblance of a man? Give me the spirit, Master Shallow. I mean, here's Ward. You can see what a ragged appearance it is. He shall charge you and discharge you with the motion of a pewter's hammer, come off and on swifter than the giblets on the brewer's bucket. And this same half-faced fellow Shadow, give me this man. He presents no mark to the enemy. A foeman may, with his great aim, level at the edge of a penknife. And as for a retreat, how swiftly will this feeble, the woman's tailor, run off, eh? That will give me the spare men and spare me the great ones. Put me a cavalier into Wart's hands, Bardolph.
Old Wart, traverse, thus.
Come, manage me your cavalier. So very well, go to. Very good, exceeding good. Yeah, oh, give me always a little lean, old, chopped, bald shot. Well said in faith, Wart. Thou art a good scab. Hold, there's a tester for thee.
He is not his craftsmaster. He doth not do it right. I remember at Mile End Green when I lay at Clement's Inn. I was then Sir Dagonet in Arthur's show. There was a little quiver fellow, and he would manage you his piece thus. And he would about and come you in, rat-ta-ta, he would say, bounce. He would say, and away again, and he would go, and again he would come. I shall ne'er see such a fellow.
These fellows will do well, Master Shallow. God keep you, Master Silence. I will not use many words with you. Fare you well, gentlemen, both. I thank you. I must 12 miles tonight. Bardolph, give the soldiers coats.
Sir John, the Lord bless you. God prosper your affairs. God send us peace. At your return, visit our house. Let our old acquaintance be renewed. Peradventure, I will with you to the court.
Before God, would you would, Master Shallow?
Go to. I have spoke at a word. God keep you.
Fare you well, gentlemen.
Shallow and Silence exit.
On, Bardolph, lead the men away.
All but Falstaff exit.
As I return, I will fetch off these justices. I do see the bottom of Justice Shallow. Oh, Lord. How subject we old men are to this vice of lying. This same starved justice have done nothing but prate to me of the wildness of his youth and the feats he have done about Turnbull Street. And every third word a lie. Due a paid to the heaven and the Turk's tribute. I do not remember him at Clement's Inn, but like a man made after supper of a cheese paring. When he was naked, he was, for all the world, like a forked radish with his head fantastically carved upon it with a knife. He was so forlorn that in his dimensions to any thick sight were invincible. He was the very genius of famine, yet lecherous as the monkey, and the whores called him Mandrake. He came ever in the rearward fashion and sung those tunes to the over-scutcheled housewives that he heard the Carmen whistle, and swore that they were his fancies or his good nights. And now, is this Vice's dagger become a squire, and talks as familiarly of John of Gaunt as if he'd been sworn brother to him? I'll be sworn he never saw him but once in the tilt yard, and then he burst his head for crowding amongst the marshal's men. I saw it and told John of Gaunt to beat his old name, for you might have thrust him and all his apparel into an eelskin. The case of a treble hawk boy was a mansion for him, a court. And now he has land and beefs. Well, I'll be acquainted with him if I return, and shall go hard, but I'll make him a philosopher's 2 stones to me. If the young dace be a bait for an old pipe, I see no reason in the law of nature, but I may snap at him and let time shape for there an end.
He exits. End of Act 3. Act 4, Scene 1. Enter the Archbishop of York, Mowbray, Lord Bardolph, Hastings, and their officers within the forest of Galtree.
What is this forest called?
'Tis Galtree's forest, and shalt please your grace.
Here stand, my lords, and send discoverers forth to know the numbers of our enemies.
We have set forth already.
'Tis well done. My friends and brethren, in these great affairs, I must acquaint you that I have received new dated letters from Northumberland, their cold intent, tenor, and substance. Thus, here doth he wish his person with such powers as might hold swordance with his quality, the which he could not levy, whereupon he is retired, growing fortune, to Scotland. It concludes in hearty prayers that your attempts may overlive the hazard and fearful meeting of their opposite.
Thus do the hopes we have in him touch ground and dash themselves to pieces.
Now, what news?
West of the forest, scarcely off a mile, in goodly form comes the enemy, and by the ground they hide, I judge their number upon or near the rate of 30,000.
The just proportion that we gave them out. Let us sway and face them in the field.
Enter Westmoreland.
What well-appointed leader fronts us here?
I think it is my lord of Westmoreland.
Health and fair greeting from our general, the Prince Lord John and Duke of Lancaster.
Say on, my lord of Westmoreland, in peace. What doth concern your coming?
Then, my lord, unto your grace do I in chief address the substance of my speech. If that rebellion came like itself in base and abject routs, led on by bloody youth, guarded with rage, and countenanced by boys in beggary, I say, damned commotion so appeared in his true, native, and most proper shape, you, reverend father, and these noble lords had not been here to dress the ugly form of base and bloody insurrection with your fair honors. You, Lord Archbishop, whose see is by a civil peace maintained, whose beard the silver hand of peace hath touched, whose learning and good letters peace hath tutored, whose white investments figure innocence, the dove and very blessed spirit of peace. Wherefore do you so ill translate yourself out of the speech of peace that bears such grace into the harsh and boisterous tongues of war, turning your books to graves, your ink to blood, your pens to lances, and your tongue divine to a loud trumpet and a point of war?
Wherefore do I this? So the question stands. Briefly to this end, we are all diseased, and with our surfeiting and wanton hours have brought ourselves into a burning fever, and we must bleed for it, of which disease our late King Richard, being infected, died. But, my most noble lord of Westmoreland, I take not on me here as a physician, nor do I as an enemy to peace troop in the throngs of military men, but rather show a while, like fearful war, to diet minds sick of happiness and purge the obstructions which begin to stop our very veins of life. Hear me more plainly. I have in equal balance justly weighed what wrongs our arms may do, what wrongs we suffer, and find our griefs heavier than our offenses. We see which way the stream of time doth run, and are enforced from our most quiet there by the rough torrents of occasion, and have the summary of all our griefs, when time shall serve, to show in articles, which long ere this we offer to the king, and by no suit gain our audience. When we were wronged and would unfold our griefs, we were denied access unto his person, even by those men that have done us wrong. The dangers of the days but newly gone, whose memory is written on earth with yet appearing blood, and the examples of every minute's instance, present now, has put us in these ill-beseeming arms, not to break peace or any branch of it, but to establish here a peace indeed, concurring both in name and quality.
Whenever yet was your appeal denied? Wherein have you been galled by the king? What peer hath been suborned to grate on you, that you should seal this lawless, bloody book of forged rebellion with a seal divine, and consecrate commotion's bitter edge?
My brother general, the Commonwealth. To brother born and household cruelty, I make my quarrel in particular.
There is no need of any such redress, or if there were, it not belongs to you.
Why not to him in part, and to us all that feel the bruises of the days before, and suffer the conditions of these times, to lay a heavy and unequal hand upon our honors?
My good Lord Mowbray, construe the times to their necessities, and you shall say, indeed, it is the time, and not the king, that doth you injuries. Yet for your part, it not appears to me, either from the king or in the present time, that you should have an inch of any ground to build a grief on. Were you not restored to all the Duke of Norfolk's seniorities, your noble and right well-remembered fathers?
What thing in honor had my father lost that need to be revived and breathed in me? The king that loved him as the state stood then was force perforce compelled to banish him. And then that Henry Bolingbroke and he, being mounted and both roused in their seats, their neighing coursers, daring of the spur, their armored staves in charge, their beavers down, their eyes of fire sparkling through sights of steel, and the loud trumpet blowing them together, then, when there was nothing that could have stayed my father from the breast of Bolingbroke, oh, when the king did throw his warder down, his own life hung upon the staff he threw. Then threw he down himself and all their lives that by indictment and dint of sword have since miscarried under Bolingbroke.
You speak, Lord Mowbray, now you know not what. The Earl of Hereford was reputed then in England the most valiant gentleman. Who knows on whom fortune would then have smiled? But if your father had been victor there, he ne'er had borne it out of Coventry. For all the country in a general voice cried hate upon him, and all their prayers and love were set on Hereford, whom they doted on and blessed and graced, indeed more than the king. But this is mere digression from my purpose. Here I come from our princely general to know your griefs, to tell you from his grace that he will give you audience, and wherein it shall appear that your demands are just, you shall enjoy them, everything set off that might so much as think you enemies.
But he hath forced us to compel this offer, and it proceeds from policy, not love.
Mowbray, you overween to take it so. This offer comes from mercy, not from fear. For lo, within ken our army lies, upon mine honor, all too confident to give admittance to a thought of fear. Our battle is more full of names than yours, our men more perfect in the use of arms, our armor all as strong, our cause the best, then reason will our hearts should be as good. Say you not then our offer is compelled?
Well, by my will, we shall admit no parley.
That argues but of the shame of your offense. A rotten case abides no handling.
Hath Prince John a full commission, is in very ample virtue of his father, to hear and absolutely to determine of what conditions shall we stand upon?
That is intended in the general's name. I muse you make so slight a question.
Then take, my Lord of Westmoreland, this schedule, for it contains our general grievances. Each several article herein redress, all members of our cause, both here and hence that are insinued to this action, acquitted by a true and substantial form, and present execution of our wills to us, and to our purposes confined, we will come within our awful banks again, and knit our powers to the arm of peace.
This I will show the general. Please you, lords, in sight of both our battles we may meet, and either end in peace, which God so frame, or to the place of difference call the swords which must decide it.
My lord, we will do so.
Westmoreland exits.
There's a thing within my bosom tells me that no conditions of our peace can stand.
Fear you not that, if we can make our peace upon such large terms and so absolute, as our conditions shall consist upon, our peace shall stand as firm as rocky mountains.
Yea, but our valuation shall be such that every slight and false derived cause, yea, every idle, nice, and wanton reason shall to the king taste of this action. That were our royal faith's martyrs in love, we shall be winnowed with so rough a wind that even our corn shall seem as light as chaff, and good from bad find no partition.
No, no, my lord, note this. The king is weary of dainty and such picking grievances, for he hath found to end one doubt by life, revives two greater in the air. To end one doubt by death, revives two greater in the heirs of life. And therefore will he wipe his tables clean and keep no telltale to his memory that may repeat and history his loss to new remembrance. For full well he knows he cannot precisely weed this land as his misdoubts present occasion. His foes are so enrooted with his friends that, plucking to unfix an enemy, he doth unfasten and so shape a friend, so that this land, like an offensive wife that hath enraged him, offers strokes as he is striking, holds his infant up, and hangs resolved correction in the arm that was upreared to execution.
Besides, the king hath wasted all his rods on late offenders, and that he doth lack the very instruments of chastisement, so that his power, like the fangless lion, may offer but not hold.
It is very true, and therefore be assured, my good Lord Marshal, if we do now make our atonement well, our peace will, like a broken limb united, grow stronger for the breaking.
Be it so. Here is returned my Lord of Westmoreland.
Enter Westmoreland.
Prince is here at hand. Pleaseth your lordship to meet his grace just distance between our armies.
Enter Prince John and his army.
Your Grace of York, in God's name then sent forward.
Before, and greet his grace. My lord, we come.
You are well encountered here, my cousin Mowbray. Good day to you, gentle Lord Archbishop, and so to you, Lord Hastings, and to all. My Lord of York, it had better showed with you when that flock assembled by the bell encircled you to hear with reverence your exposition on the holy text, than now you see here an Iron Man talking, cheering a rout of rebels with your drum, turning the word to sword and life to death. That man that sits with a monarch's heart and ripens in the sunshine of his favor, would he abuse the countenance of king? Alack! What mischiefs might he set abroach in shadow of such greatness? With you, Lord Bishop, it is even so. Who hath it not spoken how deep you were in the books of God? To us, the speaker in his parliament, to us, the imagined voice of God himself, the very opener and intelligencer between the grace, the sanctities of heaven, and our dull workings. Oh, who shall believe? But you misuse the reverence of your place, employ the countenance and grace of heaven as a false favorite doth his prince's name and deeds dishonorable. You have ta'en them up under the counterfeited zeal of God, the subjects of his substitute, my father, and both against the peace of heaven, and have him here upswarmed them.
Good my lord of Lancaster, I am not here against your father's peace, but, as I told my lord of Westmoreland, the time misordered doth in common sense crowd us and crush us to this monstrous form to hold our safety up. I sent your grace the parcels and particulars of our grief, the which hath been with scorn shoved from the court, whereon this hydra son of war is born, whose dangerous eyes may well be charmed to sleep with our grant of our most just and right desires, and true obedience of this madness cured, stoop tamely to the foot of the majesty.
If not, we are ready to try our fortunes to the last man.
And though we here fall down, we have supplies to second our attempt. If they miscarry, theirs shall second them, and so success of mischief shall be born. And heir from heir shall hold his quarrel up, while England shall have a generation.
You're too shallow, Hastings, much too shallow to sound the bottom of the after times.
Please, your grace, to answer them directly, how forth you do like their articles.
I like them all, and do allow them well, and swear here by the honor of my blood, my father's purposes have been mistook, and some about him not have too lavishly wrested his meaning and authority. My lord, these griefs shall with speed redressed. Upon my soul they shall. If this please you, discharge your powers unto their several countries, and we will ours here and here, between the armies. Let us drink together friendly and embrace, that all their eyes may bear those tokens home of our restored love and amity.
I take your princely word for these redresses.
I give it to you, and will maintain my word, and therefore I drink upon your grace.
Go, captain, and deliver to an army this news of peace. Let them have pay and part. I know it will please them. Hie thee, captain.
An officer exits.
To you, my noble lord of Westmoreland.
I pledge your grace, and if you knew what pains I have bestowed to breed this present peace, you would drink freely. But my love to you shall show itself more openly hereafter.
I do not doubt you.
I am glad of it. Health to my lord and gentle cousin, Mowbray.
You wish me health and very happy season, for I am on the sudden something ill.
Against ill chances, men are ever merry, but heaviness foreruns the good event.
Therefore be merry, cuz, since sudden sorrow serves to say thus, some good thing comes tomorrow.
Believe me, nothing light in spirit.
So much the worse if your own rule be true.
Huzzah!
Huzzah!
The word of peace is rendered. Harka, they shout.
This had been cheerful after victory.
A peace is of the nature of a conquest, for then both parties nobly are subdued, and neither party loser.
Go, my lord, and let our army be discharged too.
Westmoreland exits.
And good my lord, so please you, let our trains march by us, that we may peruse the men that we should have coped withal.
Go, good Lord Hastings, and ere they be dismissed, let them march by.
Hastings exits.
I trust, lords, we shall lie together tonight.
Enter Westmoreland.
Now, cousin, wherefore stands our army still?
The leaders, having charged from you to stand, will not go off until they hear you speak.
They know their duties.
Enter Hastings.
My lord, our army is dispersed already. Like youthful steers unyoked, they take their courses. East, west, north, south, or like a school broke up. Each hurries towards his home and sporting place.
Good tidings, my lord Hastings, for the which I do arrest thee, traitor of high treason. And you, Lord Archbishop, and you, Lord Mowbray, of capital treason, I attach you both.
Is this proceeding just and honorable?
Is your assembly so?
Will you thus break your faith?
I pawned thee none. I promised you redress of these same grievances whereof you did complain. By mine honor, I will perform a most Christian care. But for you rebels, Look to the taste of dew meet for rebellion and such acts as yours. Most shallowly did you these arms commence, fondly brought here and foolishly sent hence. Strike up our drums, pursue the scattered stray. God and not we hath safely fought today. Some guard these traitors to the block of death, treason's true bed and yielder up of breath.
They exit. Act 4, Scene 2. Enter Falstaff and Sir Colville.
What is your name, sir? What conditions are you, and of what place, I pray?
I am a knight, sir, and my name is Colville of the Dale.
Well then, Colville is your name, a knight is your degree, and your place the Dale. Colville, be still your name, a traitor your degree, and the dungeon your place, a place deep enough, so shall you still be Colville of the Dale.
Are you not Sir John Falstaff?
As good a man as he, sir, whoever I am. Do you yield, sir, or shall I sweat for you? If I do sweat, they are the drops of thy lovers that they weep for thy death. Therefore rouse up fear and trembling, and do observance to my mercy.
I think you are Sir John Falstaff, and in that thought yield me.
Oh, I have a whole school of tongues in this belly of mine, and not a tongue of them all speaks any other word but my name. And I had but a belly of any indifferency, I was simply the most active fellow in Europe. My womb undoes me. Here comes our general.
Enter Prince John, Westmoreland, and the rest.
The heat is past. Follow no further now. Call in the powers, good cousin Westmore.
Westmoreland exits.
Now, Falstaff, where have you been all this while? When everything is ended, then you come. These tardy tricks of yours will, on my life, one time or another break gallows back.
I would be sorry, my lord, but it should be thus. I never knew yet but rebuke and cheek was the reward of valour. Do you think me a swallow, an arrow, or a bullet? I have in my poor and old motion the expedition of thought. I have speeded hither with the very extremest inch of possibility. I have founded 90 and odd posts, and here, travel tainted as I am, having my pure and immaculate valour taken Sir John Colville of the Dale, a most furious knight and valorous enemy. But what of that? He saw me and he yielded, that I may justly say with the hook-nosed fellow of Rome, here, cousin, I came, saw, and overcome.
It was more of his courtesy than your deserving.
Well, I know not, but here he is, and here I yielded him, and I beseech your grace, let it be booked with the rest of this day's deeds, or by the Lord, I will have it in particular ballad house, with mine own picture on top of it, Colville, kissing my foot. To the which course, if I be enforced, if you do not all show like gilt 2 pences to me, and I in the clear sky of fame overshine you as much as the full moon doth the cinders of the element, which show like pins' heads to her, believe not the word of the noble. Therefore let me have my right, and let desert mount.
Thine's too heavy to mount.
Well, let it shine then.
Thine's too thick to shine.
Well, let it do something, my good lord, that may do me good, and call it what you will.
Is thy name Colville?
It is, my lord.
A famous rebel thou art, Colville.
And a famous true subject took him.
I am, my lord, but as my betters are, that led me hither. Had they been ruled by me, you should have won them dearer than you have.
I know not how they sold themselves, but thou, like a kind fellow, gavest thyself away gratis, and I thank thee for it.
Enter Westmoreland.
Now have you left pursuit?
Retreat is made and execution stayed.
Send Colville with his confederates to York to present execution. Blunt, lead him hence, and see you guard him.
Blunt exits with Colville.
And now dispatch we will towards the court, my lords. I hear the king my father is so sick. Our news shall go before us to his majesty, which cousin you shall bear to comfort him, and we with sober speed will follow you.
My lord, I beseech you, give me leave to go through Gloucestershire, and when you come to court, stand my good lord, pray in your good report.
Fare you well, Falstaff. I, in my condition, shall speak better of you than you deserve.
All but Falstaff exit.
I would you had but the wit, 'twere better than your dukedom. Good faith, this same young, sober-blooded boy does not love me, nor a man cannot make him laugh. But that's no marvel, he drinks no wine. I mean, there never none of these demure boys come to any proof, for thin drink doth so overcool their blood and make in many fish meals that they fall into a kind of male green sickness. And then, when they marry, they get riches. And they generally fools and cowards, which some of us should be too. But for information, a good sheriff's sack hath a twofold operation in it. It ascends me into the brain, and it dries there all the foolish and dull and crudy vapours which environ it. Makes it apprehensive, quick, forgettive, full of nimble, fiery, and delectable shapes, which delivered over to the voice, the tongue, which is the birth, becomes excellent wit. The second property of your excellent sheriffs is the warming of the blood, which, before cold and settled, left the liver white and pale, which is the badge of pusillanimity and cowardice. But the sheriff warms it, and makes it course from the inwards to the parts extremes. It illumineth the face, which as a beacon gives warning to all the rest of the little kingdom man to arm. And then the vital commoners and the inland petty spirits muster me to their captain, the heart, who great and puffed up with this routine, doth any deed of courage. And this valour comes of sheriffs. So that skill in the weapon is nothing without sack. For that sets it a work, and leaning a mere hoard of gold kept by the devil till sack commences it, and sets it in act and use. Therefore comes it that Prince Harry is valiant, for the cold blood he did naturally inherit of his father, he hath like a lean, sterile, and bare land manured husband, tilled with excellent endeavour of drinking good and good store of fertile sheriffs. That he is become very hot and valiant. If I had 1,000 sons, the first human principle I would teach them should be to forswear thin potations and addict themselves to sack.
Enter Bardolph.
How now, Bardolph?
The army is discharged, all gone.
Well, let them go. I'll go through Gloucestershire, and there I will visit Master Robert Shallow, Esquire. I have him already tempering between my finger and thumb, and shortly will I seal with him. Come away.
They exit. Act 4, Scene 3. Enter the king in a chair, Warwick, Thomas, Duke of Clarence, Humphrey, Duke of Gloucester, and attendants.
Now, lords, if God doth give successful end to this debate that bleedeth at our doors, we will our youth lead on to higher fields, and draw no swords but what are sanctified, Our navy is at rest, our power collected, our substitutes in absence well invested, and everything lies level to our wish. Only we want a little personal strength, and pause us till these rebels now afoot come underneath the yoke of government.
Both which we doubt not, but your majesty shall soon enjoy.
Humphrey, my son of Gloucester, where's the prince, your brother?
I think he's gone to hunt, my lord, at Windsor.
And how accompanied?
I do not know, my lord.
Is not his brother Thomas of Clarence with him?
No, my good lord, he is in here.
What would my lord and father?
Nothing but well to thee, Thomas of Clarence. How chance thou art not with the prince, thy brother? He loves thee, and thou dost neglect him, Thomas. Thou hast a better place in his affection than all thy brothers. Cherish it, my boy. In noble offices thou mayst effective mediation, after I am dead, between his greatness and thy other brethren. Therefore omit him not, blunt not his love, nor lose the good advantage of his grace by seeming cold or careless of his will. For he is gracious, if he be observed. He hath a tear for pity, and a hand open as day for melting charity. Notwithstanding, being incensed, he is flint, as humorless as winter, and as sudden as flaws congealed in the spring of day. His temper, therefore, must be well observed. Chide him for faults, and do it reverently when you perceive his blood inclined to mirth. But being moody, give him time and scope to let his passions, like a whale on the ground, confound themselves with working. Learn this, Thomas, and thou shalt prove a shelter to thy friends, a hoop of gold to bind thy brothers in, that the united vessel of their blood, mingled with venom of suggestion, as force perforce the age will pour it in, shall never leak, though to work as strong as aconitum or rash gunpowder.
I shall observe him with all care and love.
Why art thou not at Windsor with him, Thomas?
He is not there today. He dines in London.
How accompanied? Canst thou tell that?
With Poins and other his continual followers.
Most subject is the fattest soil to weeds, and he, the noble image of my youth, is overspread with them. For my grief stretches itself beyond the hour of death. The blood weeps from my heart when I do shape in forms imaginary the unguided days and rotten times that you shall look upon when I am sleeping with my ancestors. For when his headstrong riot hath no curb, when rage and hot blood are his counselors, when means and lavish manners meet together, oh, with what wings shall his affections fly towards affronting peril and opposed decay?
My gracious lord, you look beyond him quite. The prince but studies his companions like a strange tongue, wherein, to gain the language, 'tis needful that the most immodest word be looked upon and learned, which, once attained, your highness knows comes to no further use but to be known and hated. So, like gross terms, the prince will, in the perfectness of time, cast off his followers, and their memory shall as a pattern or a measure live, by which his grace must meet the lives of others, turning past evils to advantages.
'Tis seldom when the bee doth leave her comb in the dead carrion.
Enter Westmoreland.
Who's here? Westmoreland.
Health to my sovereign, and new happiness added to that I am to deliver. Prince John, your son, doth kiss your grace's hand. Mowbray, the Bishop Scroop, Hastings, and all are brought to the correction of your law. There is not now a rebel sword unsheathed, but peace puts forth her olive everywhere. The manner how this action hath been borne, here at more leisure may your highness read, with every course in his particular.
Oh, Westmoreland, thou art a summer bird, whichever in the haunch of winter sings the lifting up of day.
Enter Harcourt.
Look, here's more news.
From enemies heavens keep your majesty, and when they stand against you, may they fall. as those that I am here to tell you of. The Earl of Northumberland and the Lord Bardolph, with the great power of England and the Scots, are by the street of Yorkshire overthrown. The manner and true ordeal of the fight this packet pleaseth you, contains at large.
And whereby should these good news make me sick? Will fortune never come with both hands full, but write her fair words in foulest letters? She either gives a stomach and no food, such are the poor in health, or else a feast and takes away the stomach. Such are the rich that have abundance and enjoy it not. I should rejoice now at this happy news, and now my sight fails, and my brain is giddy. Oh me, come near me, now I am much ill.
Comfort your majesty.
Oh, my royal father.
My sovereign lord, cheer up yourself. Look up.
Be patient, princes. You do know these fits are with his highness very ordinary. Stand from him, give him air. He'll straight be well.
No, no, he cannot long hold out these pains. The incessant care and labor of his mind hath wrought the mure that should confine it in so thin that life looks through and will break out.
The people fear me, for they do observe unfathered airs and loathe the verbs of nature. The season changed their manners, as the year had found some months of sleep and left them over.
The river hath thrice flowed, no ebb between, and the old folk, time's doting chronicles, say it did so a little time before that our great-grandsire Edward sicked and died.
Speak lower, princes, for the king recovers.
His apoplexy will certain be his end.
I pray you, take me up and bear me hence into some other chamber, softly, pray.
The king is carried to a bed on another part of the stage.
Let there be no noise made, my gentle friends, unless some dull and favorable hand will whisper music to my weary spirit.
Call for the music in the other room.
Set me the crown upon my pillow here.
And is placed upon the bed.
His eye is hollow and he changes much.
Less noise, less noise.
The prince.
Who saw the Duke of Clarence?
I am here, brother, full of heaviness.
Oh no. Rain within doors and none abroad. How doth the king?
Exceedingly ill.
Heard he the good news yet? Tell it him.
He altered much upon the hearing it.
If he be sick with joy, he'll recover without physic.
Not so much noise, my lords. Sweet prince, speak low. The king, your father, is disposed to sleep.
Let us withdraw into the other room.
Will it please your grace to go along with us?
No. I will sit here and watch here by the king.
All but the prince and king exit.
Why doth the crown lie there upon his pillow, being so troublesome a bedfellow? Oh, polished perturbation, golden care, that keeps the ports of slumber open wide to many a watchful night. Sleep with it now, yet not so sound and half so deeply sweet as he whose brow with homely big and bound snores out the watch of night. O Majesty, when thou dost pinch thy bearer, thou dost sit like a rich armor worn in heat of day that scalds with safety. By his gates of breath there lies a downy feather which stirs not. Did he suspire that light and weightless down perforce must move? My gracious lord, my father, this sleep is sound indeed. This is a sleep that from his golden rigor hath divorced so many English kings. Thy due from me is tears and heavy sorrow. Heavy sorrows of the blood, which nature, love, and filial tenderness shall, oh dear Father, pay thee plenteously. My due from thee is this imperial crown, which as immediate from thy pace and blood derives itself to me. Lo, where it sits, which God shall guard, and put the whole world's whole strength into one giant arm, it shall not force this lineal honor from me. This from thee will I to mine leave, as 'tis left to me.
The prince exits.
Warwick, Gloucester, Clarence.
Enter Warwick, Gloucester, and Clarence, with others.
Doth the king call?
What would your majesty? How fares your grace?
Why did you leave me here alone, my lords?
We left the prince my brother here, my liege, who undertook to sit and watch by you.
The Prince of Wales. Where is he? Let me see him. He is not here.
This door is open. He's gone this way.
Came not through the chamber where we stayed.
Where's the crown? Who took it from my pillow?
When we withdrew, my liege, we left it here.
The prince hath taken it hence. Go, seek him out. Is he so hasty that he doth suppose my sleep my death? Find him, my lord of Warwick. Chide him hither.
Warwick exits.
This part of his conjoins with my disease and helps to end me. See, sons, with things you are, how quickly nature falls into revolt. Gold becomes her object. For this, the foolish over-careful fathers have broke their sleep with thoughts, the brains which share their bones with industry. For this, they have engrossed and piled up the cankered heaps of strange achieved gold. For this, they have been thoughtful to invest their sons with arts and martial exercises. When, like the bee tolling from every flower, the virtuous sweets, our thighs packed with wax, our mouths with honey, we bring it to the hive, and like the bees are murdered for our pains. Bitter taste yields his engrossments to the ending father.
Enter Warwick.
Now, where is he that will not stay so long till his friend's sickness hath determined me?
My lord, I found the prince in the next room, washing with kindly tears his gentle cheeks, with such a deep demeanour in great sorrow that tyranny, which never quaffed but blood, would, by beholding him, have washed his knife with gentle eye drops. He is coming hither.
Wherefore did he take away the crown?
Enter the prince.
Oh, where he comes. Come hither to me, Harry. Depart the chamber. Leave us here alone.
Gloucester, Clarence, Warwick, and the others exit.
I never thought to hear you speak again.
I wish it was Father Harry to that thought. I stay too long by thee. I weary thee. Dost thou so hunger for mine empty chair, that thou wilt needs invest thee with my honours before thy hour be ripe? Oh, foolish youth, thou seek'st the greatness that will overwhelm me. Stay but a little, for my cloud of dignity is held from falling with so weak a wind that it will quickly drop. My day is dim. Thou hast stolen that which, after some few hours, were thine without offence, and in my death thou hast sealed up my expectation. Thy life did manifest thou lovest me not, and thou wilt have me die ashort of it. Thou hidest 1,000 daggers in thy thought. whom thou hast whetted on thy stony heart to stab at half an hour of my life. What, canst thou not forbear me half an hour? Then get thee gone, and dig my grave thyself, and bid the merry bells ring to thine ear, that thou art crowned, not that I am dead. Let all the tears that should be due my hearse be drops of balm to sanctify thy head. Only compound me with forgotten dust. Give that which gave thee life unto the worms. Pluck down my officers, break my decrees. For now a time is come to mock at form. Harry the Fifth is crowned. Up, vanity, down, royal estate. All you sage councillors, hence. And to the English court assemble now from every region, apes of idleness. Now, neighbor confines, purge you of your scum. Have you a ruffian that will swear, drink, dance, revel the night, rob, murder, and commit the oldest sin, the newest kinds of ways? Be happy, he will trouble you no more. England shall double gild his treble guilt. England shall give him office, honor, might, for the fifth Harry from curbed license plucks the muzzle of restraint. The wild dog shall flesh his tooth on every innocent. On my poor kingdom, sick with evil civil blows, when my care could not withhold thy riots, what wilt thou do when riot is thy care? Oh, thou wilt be a wilderness again, peopled with wolves, thy own inhabitants.
Oh, pardon me, my liege. But for my tears, the moist impediments unto my speech, I had forestalled this dear and deep rebuke, ere you with grief had spoke, and I had heard the course of it so far. There is your crown, and she that wears the crown immortally long guard it yours. If I affected more than as your honor and as your renown, let me no more from this obedience rise, which my most inward true and duteous spirit teacheth this prostrate and exterior bending. God witnessed with me when I here came in and found no course of breath within your majesty, how cold it struck my heart. If I do feign, oh, let me in my present wildness die, and never live to show the incredulous world the noble change that I have purposed. Coming to look on you, thinking you were dead, and dead almost, my liege, to think you were, I spake unto this crown as having sense, and thus upbraided it. The care on thee depending had fed upon the body of my father. Therefore thou best of gold art worst of gold. Other less fine in carat is more precious, preserving life in medicine potable. But thou, most fine, most honored, most renowned, hast eat thy bearer up. Thus, my most royal liege, accusing it, I had put it on my head to try with it, as with an enemy that had before my face murdered my father, the quarrel of a true inheritor. But if it did infect my blood with joy, or swell my thoughts to any strain of pride, if any rebel or vain spirit of mine did with the least affection of a welcome give entertainment to the might of it, let God forever keep it from my head, and make me as the poorest vassal is, that doth with awe and terror kneel to it.
Oh, my son, God hath put it in thy mind to take it hence, that thou mightst win the more thy father's love, pleading so wisely in excuse of it. Come hither, Harry, sit thou by my bed, and hear, I think, the very latest counsel that ever I shall breathe. God knows, my son, by what bypaths and indirect crooked ways I met this crown. I myself know well how troublesome it sat upon my head. To thee it shall descend with better quiet, better opinion, better confirmation. For all the soil of the achievement goes with me into the earth. It seemed to me but as an honor snatched with boisterous hand. I had many living to upbraid my gain of it by their assistances, which which daily grew to quarrel and to bloodshed, wounding supposed peace. All these bold fears thou seest with peril I have answered, for all my reign hath been but as a scene acting that argument. And now my death changes the mood, for what in me which is purchased falls upon thee in a more fairer sort. So thou the garland wear'st successively. Yet though thou standst more sure than I could do, thou art not firm enough, since griefs are green, and all my friends, which thou must make thy friends, have but their stings and teeth newly ta'en out, by whose fell working I was first advanced, and by whose power might well lodge a fear to be again displaced, which to avoid I cut them off, and had a purpose now to lead out many to the Holy Land. Lest rest and lying still might make them look too near into my state. Therefore, my Harry, be it thy course to busy giddy minds with foreign quarrels, that action henceborn out may waste the memory of the former days. Or would my lungs are wasted so, the strength of speech is utterly denied me. How I came by the crown, O God, forgive, and grant it may with thee in true peace live.
My gracious liege, you won it, wore it, kept it, gave it me. Then plain and right must my possession be, which I with a common pain against all the world will rightfully maintain.
Enter John of Lancaster and others.
Look, here comes my John of Lancaster.
Oh, peace and happiness to my royal father.
Thou bringst me happiness and peace, son John. Health. Alack, with youthful wings is flown from this bare withered trunk. Upon thy sight, my worldly business makes a period. Where's my Lord of Warwick?
My Lord of Warwick!
Enter Warwick.
Doth any name particular belong unto the lodging where I first did swoon?
'Tis called Jerusalem, my noble lord.
Oh, be to God. Even there my life must end. It hath been prophesied to me many years I should not die but in Jerusalem, which vainly I suppose the Holy Land. But bear me to that chamber, there I'll lie. In that Jerusalem shall Harry die.
They exit. End of Act 4. Act 5, Scene 1. Enter Shallow, Falstaff, the Page, and Bardolph.
By cock-a-pie, sir, you shall not away tonight. What, Darby, I say?
Oh, you must excuse me, Master Robert Shallow.
I will not excuse you. You shall not be excused. Excuses shall not be admitted. There is no excuse shall serve. You shall not be excused. Why, Davy?
Enter Davy.
Davy, let me see. Davy, let me see. Davy, let me see. Yea, marry, William Cook, bid him come hither. Sir John, you shall not be excused.
Marry, sir, thus those precepts cannot be served. And again, sir, shall we sow the headland with wheat?
With red wheat, Davy, but for William Cook, are there no young pigeons?
Yes, sir. Here is now the smith's note for shoeing and plough irons.
Let it be cast and paid. Sir John, you shall not be excused.
Now, sir, a new link to the bucket must need be had. And, sir, do you mean to stop any of Williams's wages? About the sack he lost the other day at Hinkley Fair?
He shall answer for it. Some pigeons, Davy. A couple of short-legged hens, a joint of mutton, and any pretty little kickshaws tell William Cook.
Doth the man of war stay all night, sir?
Yea, Davy, I will use him well. A friend in the court is better than a penny in purse. Use his men well, Davy, for they are arrant knaves and will backbite.
No worse than they are backbitten, sir, for they have marvelous foul linen.
Well conceded, Davy. About thy business, Davy.
I beseech you, sir, to countenance William Visor of Woncott against Clement Perks of the Hill.
There is many complaints, Davy, against that Visor. That Visor is an arrant knave on my knowledge.
I grant your worship that he is a knave, sir, but yet, God forbid, sir, but a knave should have some countenance at his friend's request. An honest man, sir, is able to speak for himself when a knave is not. I have served your worship truly, sir, this 8 years, and if I cannot once or twice in a quarter bear out a knave against an honest man, I have but a very little credit with your worship. The knave is mine honest friend, sir. Therefore, I beseech your worship, let him be countenanced.
Go to, I say. He shall have no wrong. Look about, Davy.
Davy exits.
Where are you, Sir John? Come. Off with your boots. Give me your hand, Master Bardolph.
I am glad to see your worship.
I thank thee with all my heart, kind Master Bardolph. And welcome, my tall fellow. Come, Sir John.
I'll follow you, good Master Robert Shallow.
Shallow exits.
Bardolph, look to our horses.
Bardolph and the page exit.
Oh, if I were soared into quantities, I should make 4 dozen of such bearded hermits, staves as Master Shallow. It is a wonderful thing to see the semblance, coherence of his men's spirits and his. They, by observing of him, do bear themselves with foolish justices. He, by conversing with them, is turned into a justice-like serving man. Their spirits are so marred in conjunction with the participation of society that they flock together in consent like so many wild geese. If I had a suit to Master Shallow, I would humour his men with the imputation of being near their master. If to his men I would curry with Master Shallow that no man could better command his servants. It is certain that either wise bearing or ignorant carriage is caught as men take diseases, one of the other. Therefore, let men take heed of their company. I will devise matter enough out of this Shallow to keep Prince Harry in continual laughter, the wearing out of 6 fashions, which is 4 terms or 2 actions. And he shall laugh without intervallums. Oh, it is much that a lie with a slight oath and a jest with a sad brow will do with a fellow that never had the ache in his shoulders. Oh, you should see him laugh till his face be like a wet cloak. He'll lay it up.
Sir John.
I come, Master Shallow. I come, Master Shallow.
He exits. Act 5, Scene 2. Enter Warwick and the Lord Chief Justice.
How now, my Lord Chief Justice? Whither away?
How doth the king?
Exceeding well. His cares are now all ended.
I hope not dead.
He's walked the way of nature, and to our purposes, he lives no more.
I would his majesty had called me with him. The service that I truly did his life hath left me open to all injuries.
Indeed. I think the young king loves you not.
I know he doth not, and do arm myself to welcome the condition of the time, which cannot look more hideously on me than I have drawn it in my fantasy.
Enter John, Thomas, and Humphrey.
Here comes the heavy issue of dead Harry. Oh, that the living Harry had the temper of he, the worst of these 3 gentlemen. How many nobles then should hold their places that must strike sail to spirits of vile sort?
I fear we all will be overturned.
Morrow, cousin Warwick. Good morrow.
Good morrow, cousin.
We meet like men that had forgot to speak.
We do, remember, but our argument is all too heavy to admit much talk.
Well, peace be with him that hath made us heavy.
Peace be with us, lest we be heavier.
Oh, good my lord, you have lost a friend indeed. And I so swear you borrowed not that face of seeming sorrow, and assure your own.
Though no man be assured what grace to find, you stand in coldest expectation. I am the sorrier. Would 'twere otherwise.
Well, now you must speak, Sir John Falstaff, fair, which swims against your stream of quality.
Sweet princes, what I did in honour, led by the impartial conduct of my soul, and never shall you see that I will beg a ragged and forestalled remission. If truth and upright innocency fail me, I'll to the king my master that is dead, and tell him who hath sent me after him.
Enter the prince as Henry V.
Here comes the prince.
Good morrow, and God save your majesty.
This new and gorgeous garment, Majesty, sits not as easy on me as you think. Brothers, you mix your sadness with some fear. This is the English, not the Turkish court. Not in Amurath and Amurath succeeds, but Harry. It be sad, good brothers, for by my faith it very well becomes you. Sorrow so royally in you appears that I will deeply put on the fashion and wear it in my heart. Why then be sad, but entertain no more of it, good brothers, than a joint burden laid upon us all. For me, by heaven, I bid you be assured. I'll be your father and your brother too. Let me but bear your love, I'll bear your cares. Yet weep that Harry's dead, and so with life. But Harry lives that shall convert those tears by number into hours of happiness.
We hope no otherwise from your majesty.
You all look strangely on me. You most. You are, I think, assured I love thee not.
I am assured, if I be measured rightly, your majesty hath no just cause to hate me.
No? How might a prince of my great hopes forget so great indignity you laid upon me? What? Rate, rebuke, and wrongfully send to prison the immediate heir of England? Was this easy? May this be washed in lithy and forgotten?
I then did use the person of your father. The image of his power lay then in me, and in the administration of his law, whilst I was busy for the Commonwealth. Your highness pleased to forget my place, the majesty of power and power of law and justice, the image of the king whom I presented, and struck me in my very seat of judgment, whereon, as an offender to your father, I gave bold way to my authority and did commit you. If the deed were ill, be you contented, wearing now the garland, to have a son set your decrees at naught? To pluck down justice from your awful bench? To trip the course of law and blunt the sword that guards the peace and safety of your person? Nay, more, to spurn at your most royal image and mock your workings in a second body? Question your royal thoughts. Make the case yours. Be now the father and propose a son. Hear your own dignity so much profaned. See your most dreadful laws so loosely slighted. Behold yourself, so by a son disdained, and then imagine me taking your part, and in your past soft silencing your son. After this cold considerance, sentence me, and as you are a king, speak in your state, what I have done that misbecame my place, my person, or my liege's sovereignty.
You are right, Justice, and you weigh this well. Therefore still bear the balance and the sword. And I do wish your honors may increase till you do live to see a son of mine offend you and obey you as I did. So shall I live to speak my father's words. Happy am I that have a man so bold that dares do justice on my proper son. And not less happy having such a son that would deliver up his greatness so into the hands of justice. You did commit me, for which I do commit into your hand the unstated sword that you have used to bear. With this remembrance, that you use the same with the like bold, just, and impartial spirit as you have done against me. There is my hand. You shall be as a father to my youth. My voice shall sound as you do prompt mine ear. And I will stoop and humble my intent to your well-practiced wise directions. And, princes all, believe me, I beseech you. My father is gone wild into his grave, for in his tomb lie my affections. And with his spirit sadly I survive to mock the expectation of the world, to frustrate prophecies, and to raise out rotten opinions, who hath writ me down after my seeming. The tide of blood in me hath proudly flowed in vanity. Now doth it turn and ebb back to the sea, where it shall mingle with the state of floods and flow henceforth in formal majesty. Now call we our high court of parliament, and let us choose such limbs of noble counsel that the great body of our state may go in equal rank with the best covered nation. That war, or peace, or both at once, may be as things acquainted and familiar to us, in which you, Father, shall have foremost hand. Our coronation done, we will excite, as I before remembered, all our state, and God consigning to my good intents, no prince nor peer shall have just cause to say, God shorten Harry's happy life one day.
They exit. Act 5, Scene 3. Enter Sir John Falstaff, Shallow, Silence, Davy, Bardolph, and the page.
Nay, you shall see my orchard where, in an arbor, we will eat a last year's pippin of mine own graffing, with a dish of caraways and so forth. Come, cousin, silence, and then to bed.
For God, you have a goodly dwelling, and a rich.
Baron, beggars all, Sir John. Merry good air. Spread, Davy. Well said, Davy.
This Davy serves you for good uses. He is your serving man and your husband.
A good varlet, a very good varlet, Sir John. By the mass, I have drunk too much sack at supper. Good varlet. Now, sit down. Now sit down. Come, cousin.
Sirrah, quoth he, we shall. Do nothing but eat and make good cheer, and praise God for the merry year, when flesh is cheap and females dear, and lusty lads roam here and there so merrily, and ever among so merrily.
Oh, yeah, there's a merry heart. Good, Master Silence. I'll give you a health for that anon.
Give Master Baldolph some wine, Davy.
Sweet sir, sit. I'll be with you anon. Most sweet sir, sit. Master Page, good Master Page, sit. Proface, what you want in meat, we'll have in drink, but you must bear the heart's all.
He exits.
Be merry, Master Baldolph, and my little soldier there, be merry.
Be merry, my wife has all, for women are shrews both short and tall. 'Tis merry in hall when beards wags all, and welcome Mary to Shrovetide. Be merry, be merry.
Oh, I did not think Master Silence had been a man of this metal.
Who, I have been married twice in once ere now.
Enter Davy.
There's a dish of leather coats for you.
Davy!
Your worship, I'll be with you straight. A cup of wine, sir.
A cup of wine that's brisk and fine, and drink unto the leman mine, and merry a heart lives longer.
Well said, Master Silence.
And we shall be merry. Now comes in the sweet of the night.
Health and long life to you, Master Silence.
Fill the cup and let it come, a pledge you a mile to the bottom.
Honest Bardolph, welcome. If thou wantest anything and wilt not call, be shrew thy art. Welcome, my little tiny faith, and welcome indeed too. I'll drink to Master Bardolph and to all the caballeros about London.
I hope to see London once ere I die.
And I might see you there, Davy.
By the mass, you'll crack a quart together. You, or will you not, Master Bardolph?
Yea, sir, in a pottle pot.
By God's liggins, I thank thee. The knave will stick by thee. I can assure thee that. He will not out he. 'Tis true, bread.
And I'll stick by him, sir.
Why, there spoke a king. Lack nothing, be merry. Hey, look, who's at the door there? Oh, who knocks?
Davy exits.
Why, now you have done me right.
Do me right and dub me knights amigo. Is not so?
'Tis so.
Is it so? Why then say an old man can do somewhat.
Enter Davy.
And please your worship, there's one pistol come from the court with news.
From the court? Well, let him come in.
Enter Pistol.
How now, Pistol?
For John, God save you.
What wind blew you hither, Pistol?
Not the ill wind which blows no man to good. Sweet knight, thou art now one of the greatest men in the realm.
By Our Lady, I think he be but Goodman Puff of Barson.
Puff in thy teeth, most recreant coward base. Sir John, I am thy pistol and thy friend, and helter-skelter have I rode to thee, and tidings do I bring, and lucky joys, and golden times, and happy news of price.
Well, I pray thee now, deliver them like a man of this world.
A fortune for the world and worldlings base. I speak of Africa and golden joys.
Oh, base Assyria, no, what is thy news? Let King Computia know the truth thereof.
And Robin Hood, Scarlet and John.
Shall dunghill curs confront the helicons, and shall good news be baffled? Then, Pistol, lay thy head in the Fury's lap.
Honest gentlemen, I know not your breeding.
Why then lament, therefore?
Give me pardon, sir. If, sir, you come with news from the court, I take it there's but two ways either to utter them, or to conceal them. I am, sir, under the king in some authority.
Under which king, Bessonian? Speak or die.
Under King Harry.
Harry the Fourth or Fifth?
Harry the Fourth.
A voucher for thine office. Sir John, thy tender lemmy-king now is king. Harry the Fifth's the man, I speak the truth. When pistol lies, do this, and fig me like the bragging Spaniard.
What, is the old king dead?
As nail in door, the things I speak are just.
Go away, Bardolph, saddle my horse. Master Robert Shallow, choose what office thou wilt in the land, 'tis thine. Pistol, I'll double charge thee with dignities.
Oh, joyful day! I would not take a knighthood for my fortune.
What do I do bring good news?
Carry Master Silence to bed. Master Shallow, my Lord Shallow, be what thou wilt. I am Fortune's steward. Get on my boots, we'll ride all night. Oh, sweet Pistol. Away, Bardolph. Come, Pistol, utter more to me, and withal devise something to do thyself good. Boot, boot, Master Shallow. I know the young king is sick for me. Let us take any man's horses. The laws of England are at my commandment. Blessed are they that have been my friends, and woe to my Lord Chief Justice.
I led vulture's vile seize on his lungs also. Where's the life that late I led, say they? Why, here it is. Welcome to these pleasant days.
They exit. Act 5, Scene 4. Enter Hostess Quickly, Doll Tearsheet, and the Beetle.
No, thou arrant knave, I would to God that I might die, that I might have thee hanged. Thou hast drawn my shoulder out of joint.
The constables have delivered her over to me, and she shall have whipping cheer enough, I warrant her. There have been a man or two lately killed about her.
Not hook, you lie. Come on, I'll tell thee what, thou damned tripe-visaged rascal, and a child I now go with do miscarry. Thou wert better thou hadst struck thy mother, thou paper-faced villain.
Oh, the Lord, that Sir John were come. I would make this a bloody day to somebody, but I pray God the fruit of her womb might miscarry.
If it do, you shall have a dozen of cushions again. You have but 11 now. Come, I charge you both, go with me, for the man is dead that you and Pistol beat amongst you.
I'll tell you what, you thin man in a censer. I will have you as soundly swinged for this, you blue-buttle rogue, you filthy famished correctioner. If you be not swinged, I'll forswear half kitles.
Come, you she-knight errant, come.
Oh God, that right should thus overcome might. Well, of sufferance comes ease.
Come, you rogue, come, bring me to a justice.
Hey, come, you starved bloodhound.
Goodman death, goodman bones.
Thou atomy, thou.
Come, you thin thing, come, you rascal.
Very well.
They exit. Act 5, Scene 5.
Ready?
Enter 2 grooms.
More rushes, more rushes.
The trumpets have sounded twice.
It will be 2 o'clock ere they come from the coronation. Dispatch, dispatch.
The king and his train pass over the stage. After them enter Falstaff, Shallow, Pistol, Bardolph, and the page.
Stand here by me, Master Robert Shallow. I will make the king do you grace. I will leer upon him as he comes by, and do but mark the countenance that he will give me.
God bless thy lungs, good night.
Come here, Pistol, stand beside me. Oh, if I had time to make new liveries, I would have bestowed the £1,000 I borrowed of you, but 'tis no matter. The poor show doth better, this doth infer the zeal I had to come to see him.
It doth so.
It shows the earnestness of my affection.
It doth so.
My devotion.
It doth.
As it were to ride day and night, and not to deliberate, and not to remember, not to have patience to shift me.
It is best certain.
But to stand, stained with travel and sweating with desire to see him, thinking of nothing else, putting all affairs else in oblivion, as if there were nothing else to be done but to see him.
'Tis semper idem for obsque hoc nihil est. 'Tis all in every part.
'Tis so indeed.
My knight, I will inflame thy noble liver and make thee rage. Thy dull and Helen of thy noble thoughts is in base durance and contagious prison, haled thither by most mechanical and dirty hand. Rouse up revenge from Ebon den, which fell Alecto's snake, for Doll is in, pistol speaks naught but truth.
I will deliver her.
God save the king.
God save the king!
Then roared the sea and trumpet clangor sounds.
Enter the king and his train.
God save thy grace, King Hal, my royal Hal.
The heavens thee guard and keep, most royal imp of fame.
God save thee, my sweet boy.
My Lord Chief Justice, speak to that vain man.
Have you your wits? Know you what 'tis you speak?
My king, my Jove, I speak to thee, my heart.
I know thee not, old man. Fall to thy prayers. How ill white hairs becomes a fool and jester. I have long dreamt of such a kind of man, so surfeit-swelled, so old, and so profane. But being awaked, I do despise my dream. Make less thy body hence, and more thy grace. Leave gormandizing. Know the grave doth gape for thee thrice wider than for other men. Reply not to me with full-born jest. Presume not that I am the thing I was. For God doth know, so shall the world perceive, that I have turned away my former self. So will I those that kept me company. When thou dost hear I am as I have been, approach me, and thou shalt be as thou wast, the tutor and the feeder of my riots. Till then, I banish thee, on pain of death, as I have done the rest of my misleaders, not to come near our person by 10 mile. For competence of life I will allow you, that lack of means enforce you not to evils. And as we hear you do reform yourselves, we will, according to your strengths and qualities, give you advancement. Be it your charge, my lord, to see performed the tenor of my word. Set on!
King and his train exit.
But Master Shallow, I owe you £1,000.
Yea, marry Sir John, which I beseech you to let me have home with me.
That can hardly be, Master Shallow. Do not grieve at this. I shall be sent for in private to him. Look, he must seem thus to the world. Fear not your advancements. I will be the man yet that shall make you great.
I cannot well perceive how, unless you should give me your doublet and stuff me out with straw. I beseech you, good Sir John, let me have 500 of my 1,000.
Sir, I will be as good as my word. This that you heard was but a colour.
A colour I fear you will die in, Sir John.
Fear no colours. Go with me to dinner. Come, Lieutenant Pistol. Come, Bardoff. I shall be sent for soon, at night.
Enter the Lord Chief Justice and Prince John with officers.
Go. Carry Sir John Falstaff to the fleet. Take all his company along with him.
My lord, my lord.
I cannot now speak. I will hear you soon. Take them away.
Si fortuna me tormenta, spero me contenta.
All but John of Lancaster and the Chief Justice exit.
I like this fair proceeding of the king's. He hath intent his wonted followers shall all be very well provided for. But all are banished till their conversations appear more wise and modest to the world.
And so they are.
The king hath called his parliament, my lord.
He hath.
I will lay odds that ere this empire expire, we bear our civil swords and native fire as far as France. I heard a bird so sing, whose music to my thinking pleased the king. Come, will you hence?
They exit. End of Act 5. First, my fear, then my curtsy, last, my speech. My fear is your displeasure, my curtsy, my duty, and my speech, to beg your pardons. If you look for a good speech now, you undo me, for what I have to say is of mine own making, and what indeed I should say will, I doubt, prove mine own marring. But to the purpose, and so to the venture. Be it known to you, as it is very well, I was lately here in the end of a displeasing play, to pray your patience for it, and to promise you a better. I meant indeed to pay you with this, which, if like an ill venture it come unluckily home, I break, and you, my gentle creditors, lose. Here I promised you I would be, and here I commit my body to your mercies. Bate me some, and I will pray you some, and, as most debtors do, promise you infinitely. So I kneel down before you, but, indeed, to pray for the queen. If my tongue cannot entreat you to acquit me, will you command me to use my legs? And yet that were but light payment to dance out of your debt. But a good conscience will make any possible satisfaction, and so would I. All the gentlewomen here have forgiven me. If the gentlemen will not, then the gentlemen do not agree with the gentlewomen, which was never seen before in such an assembly. One word more, I beseech you. If you be not too much cloyed with fat meat, our humble author will continue the story with Sir John in it, and make you merry with fair Catherine of France, where, for anything I know, Falstaff shall die of a sweat, unless already he be killed with your hard opinions, for Oldcastle died a martyr, and this is not the man. My tongue is weary, when my legs are too, I will bid you good night. End of play. Thank you for joining us for Henry IV, Part 2. Big thanks again to our friend, your friendly neighborhood Shakespeare. Visit him at his website, shakespeareapproves.com, or on Facebook at Shakespeare Approves, your friendly neighborhood Shakespeare. We would once again like to thank all of these actors that you see around me who have volunteered to read with us this evening. Those who came back, thank you for coming back for the second part. And those who joined us again and in new roles, thank you all. If you have enjoyed this reading, all of our past readings are available on our Facebook page and a little bit better organized on our website, zenithplayers.com. If you want more information on us, including how to be involved in a reading like this one, head to that website, head to our Facebook page, the Zenith Players, and send us a message, or send us an email to casting@zenithplayers.com if you want to be one of these fine actors that you see before you, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. We want to continue to express our support to everyone out there who is working to keep us safe and those continuing to protest and demonstrate. Join us Monday as we continue our serial reading of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein with episode 2, and next Saturday for The Birds by Aristophanes. Thank you, and good night.